inquiry will ultimately have the final say in whether the instruction by Police Minister Sento Mchunu to disband the KZN Political Killings Task Team was unlawful or not, SAPS legal head believes it was. Major General Petronella van Rooyen outlined her stance on Mchunu's letter to the Madlanga Commission in Pretoria today.
It can never be appropriate for a minister to instruct the National Commissioner not only to disband the PKTT, but also to say that the disbandment must be done immediately.
She clarifies what Mchunu should have done instead.
For the minister to express that he no longer considers political killings to be a priority.
Van Rooyen will conclude her testimony today with a representative from the NPA expected to testify tomorrow. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
The Hawks have once again pounced on Joburg City Power's headquarters, this time seeking details about a questionable 67 million rand contract. It's understood the probe is linked to a purchase order for electricity transformers in 2023. Well-placed sources have told EWN that although 67 million rand was paid, the transformers were never delivered. The Hawks have confirmed a search and seizure was conducted as part of its ongoing investigations into City Power tenders. Alpha Ramoshwana reports.
EWN has seen a confidential purchase order that Johannesburg City Power sent to a contractor for several electricity transformers. The order specified that the transformers were to be delivered on the 22nd of December 2023, but insiders indicate that this never happened. A convoy of Hawks vehicles was spotted entering City Power headquarters this morning to collect evidence related to the 67 million rand purchase order. City Power spokesperson Isaac Mangena has confirmed that the Hawks were seeking information on several questionable contracts.
They have been basically requesting some information now and then, and we have been cooperating, and we will, as City Power, be cooperating with any of the investigations, either by the Hawks or any other authorized legal entity of government.
Just 2 months ago, the Hawks visited City Power's offices as part of an investigation into other questionable contracts. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Staying with power-related matters, Electricity Minister Hossein Soramogopa has committed to ending load reduction in the next year. Load reduction refers to the intentional interruption of electricity in specific areas where the network is overburdened. He was speaking at a media briefing in Pretoria today about the department's interventions on this matter. Jabulile Mbata has more.
Electricity Minister Hossein Soramogopa reminded the public of his promise to end load shedding in the country. Since taking office, he has implemented measures to achieve that goal, including the use of load reduction. He highlighted that the country's generation capacity has risen from 48% in 2023 to 70% in 2025.
But I want to say to the country that we are going to end load reduction in the next 12 months. Once we get that cooperation, there are parts of the country where we are confident we'll get that cooperation. There are parts of the country where we know it's going to be difficult.
He added that this is the first time Eskom has surpassed the 70% energy availability target since it was introduced by the board. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
To the courts now. The Constitutional Court has been hearing arguments today which could see the Sexual Offences Act related to rape revised. The proceedings follow a landmark judgment by the Pretoria High Court in September last year related to believed consent in sexual offence cases. Legal teams, both for and against the change in law, started making their arguments in the Concourt this morning. Carlo Peterson reports.
The constitutional challenge to have the Sexual Offences Act amended was launched by NPO, the Embrace Project, 3 years ago. In September last year, the Pretoria High Court ruled in favour of the NPO for the Act to be revised. Senior counsel for the Embrace Project, Nazarene Rajab Budlender, faced stuffed questions from a panel of Concourt judges today about what the Embrace Project seeks from the court.
Yes, we say that if the accused raises consent as a defence, then he must prove that he took reasonable steps to ascertain that consent.
The court is set to hear arguments from the Centre for Applied Legal Studies and the Women's Legal Centre, who are against the law being changed. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been sentenced to 5 years in jail. This after he was found guilty of criminal conspiracy in a case related to millions of euros in illicit funds from the late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Sarkozy, who claims the case is politically motivated, was accused of using the funds from Gaddafi to finance his 2007 election campaign. In exchange, the prosecution alleges that Sarkozy promised to help Gaddafi to combat his bad reputation with Western countries. The Paris Criminal Court has acquitted him of all other charges, including passive corruption and illegal campaign financing. Gold is trading at $3,754.91 an ounce. The rand is at 17.37 to the dollar, 23.31 to the pound, 20.39 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $69.39 a barrel.
Heading towards Bedford View, expect about a 20-minute delay in Edenvale, R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Ekurhuleni interchange. Also driving through Bedford View, heading towards Germiston, we have bumper traffic. This is on the N3 southbound from Linksfield Road all the way to the Ekurhuleni interchange. Protea Glen, traffic already sluggish. N12 westbound approaching the R558.
And in your sport, rain continues to delay the Proteas Women World Cup warm-up against Bangladesh. URC sides begin to name their opening weekend squads, and Akane Simbini wants to continue spearheading South African sprinting.
It's a cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 20 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, heads of the SAPS Legal Division, Petronella van Rooyen, has come out in support of National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola and KZN Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 8 minutes past 3 on Thursday, the 25th of September. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, wherever you're listening to us in 702 land. Welcome to the show. We've largely put load shedding behind us, but what about load reduction and all those other things that interrupt our electricity supply? Electricity Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa was talking about dealing with all of that today. How credible are the solutions that he's putting forward? Put that question to energy analyst Chris Gillen. That's coming up in about 7 or 8 minutes' time. Some other stories we're covering. Why do we have 70% of the world's chrome reserves but do little or nothing to add value to this enormous asset? So many jobs could be created downstream, we're told. So many businesses sustained and built. But the story of this failure might shed some light on one of the reasons why we continue to struggle with economic growth and job creation. Focus too much on the White House? Shouldn't we be thinking about cleaning up and straightening out our house? Yapi Fullard, CEO of Glencore Alloys, joins us with that story after 4. What is the brand name Kruger National Park worth? And what might happen if we changed the name of our premier wildlife destination? Marketing expert Tebe Ikalafeng joins us with his views at 10 to 4. And it never rains but it pours. People in Gauteng, especially those who suffer from hay fever and general allergies, have been hoping for rain for some days now, make that weeks. Except now we have yellow level 2 storm warnings for today. More from the Weather Service in a moment. How bad might it get? We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including breaking news, news from the roads in our regular traffic updates, and the latest from the markets. On the markets, the JSE doesn't seem to have benefited from a day off yesterday. I hope you did. Down by 540 points, the all-share, around 0.5%, that number. Gold stocks are giving up some gains, with Harmony off by 4.8%. Goldfields down by 4.3%. Pharmaceuticals company Aspen weaker by 3.9%. But not a uniformly bad day for metals. Anglo's up by 5.1%. Alphamin by 4.5% and BHP by 4.3%. The rand is currently trading at 17.39 against the dollar. 20 rand 36 will get you a euro. A pound will cost 23 rand and 29 cents. The oil price is down by 81 cents today, currently trading at $68.18 for a barrel of Brent crude. Stephen Critters joining us with all the details at 4:25. We'll get sport with Anthony Teixeira. Mbali Dlamini, who you heard a moment ago, back with the latest news headlines. That's at 3:30. And of course, Karabo Chale, as always, keeping an eye on the roads, which will be busier today than they were yesterday. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live, and if it's happening in 702 land, you will hear about it here first. If you have something, though, to share, something we might have missed or misunderstood, drop us a note on 072 702 1702. That's for text or voice notes. Or if you'd like to phone and chat and bounce your ideas around with us, 011 883 0702, 12 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So we have lots to talk about, lots to inquire about, lots to think about. And of course, when it comes to thoughts, some of the most interesting thoughts are also some of the most random. So I don't know where this random idea came from, but Jonathan Fairbairn, Kavazele, is going to take us through the conversation we had a little bit earlier. Oh, I know. I was talking about something completely different. Can't even remember what it was I was talking about, but I referred to, I know what I was talking about. What is the thing that always makes me late? And the thing that always makes me late is I'm supposed to keep the kitchen clean, but in truth, I'm a little bit inconsistent in some of my practices. So that raised the topic about, okay, who gets irritated by the 4 cups that I didn't wash or whatever. So this is the question we want to ask you. Based on these random thoughts, what are the small, silly things about a housemate or partner that irritate you? And what are the things you do that irritate them? So, Jonathan Fairbairn, you go. I've fessed up about my bad washing up practices. What are you bad at?
Well, yeah, so you did say that if you don't, if you leave it to the morning, the little tidying up few things, and you leave it and you come to work, then it will really irritate Helena.
Yes.
Right? That's where it came from. So I was like, there's many things that, irritate our significant others, whether it's, you're married, living together, you have a house partner, whatever it may be. So those things that irritate you, and with my missus, she really gets irritated when I use the kitchen paper towel. I love whoever invented that. I love them. So if there's any little mess on the counter, I grab a little piece of the kitchen paper towel and then I wipe it up, or use it as a sort of a thing just to remove the crumbs. But then I won't throw it away because I know 5 minutes later I'm going to use it for something else. So I'll just leave it there on the counter. Oh, and when my missus sees that, I can see the face. I can see the face already. So now I have to throw it away. I'm not allowed to leave it on the counter. So that's the thing that really irritates her about me.
Yeah.
Not like massive things, It's not going to lead to a divorce. But you know where we're going with these little things.
So just the person you have to thank is Arthur Scott.
Ooh, thank you,
Arthur Scott invented the paper towel. He started something called the Scott Paper Company in Philadelphia. Except now there seems to be some dispute about that. Anyway, it was initially developed as a medical product by Irvin and Clarence Scott. Okay, this is getting very confusing. Google is supposed to settle everything with one click. No, here we go. Arthur Scott. There we go. Arthur Scott. But apparently he did it by accident. I'll check out the accident for you and send you a note. Right.
Well, thank you, Arthur Scott.
Great Scots. They came up with a paper towel.
Jeez.
What do you do that's irritating, Karabo Chale?
There's a lot. I'll just name but a few.
Because we do have to do traffic.
Needs a
What,
medal.
what do you mean by a lot? How many things about?
Sheesh. One of them is maybe drinking from the water bottle in the fridge or the milk bottle. I don't know. It's just a habit. I'll just open and I'm too lazy to grab a glass. And then every time now, the minute I open the fridge, she'll just go to the cupboard and put the glass there if she's around. But yeah, no, she doesn't like it when I drink from the milk bottle or just the water bottle. It's a bad habit, but I do it anyway.
Why don't you stop?
I don't know. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the morning, in the middle of the night, and I'll just walk to the fridge. Nobody's looking. Why not?
But she followed you, no? She hiding behind the corner. Hey, here's a glass.
One more bad habit you said you had a lot?
Yeah, you got a list.
Sheesh. Okay. On weekends, I'm the last one to wake up because I love to sleep in, and she would prefer me to make the bed. And usually I'll just wake up and go watch TV, and then she'll be like, "Who do you think is gonna make the bed?"
So you wake up, you don't make the bed, you pass the fridge, you drink from the milk bottle, and then you sit yourself down at the telly. Okay.
Yes.
some work to do there. You can, by the way, in our next round, tell us what about her irritates you or about anyone else in your family. Things you do that irritate other people, the small things. We're not talking about major deal breakers. We are talking about small irritating things. They can magnify, though, particularly if you've got a few. But call us with those on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. And if you don't want to talk about your bad habits, feel free to slander people you know right here on 702 Drive. It's 17 minutes past 3.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
So we're expecting big rainstorms. Karabo Charles, I suspect you're going to get busier and busier through the afternoon. Any sign that people are leaving work a little bit earlier, trying to get home before it comes down?
Not really, John. It's fairly quiet leaving the big CBDs. I guess the Sandton area at this stage, it's all quiet leaving the area. But if you're in the Ekurhuleni area, we have about a 20-minute delay. That's in Edenvale, heading towards Bedford View, R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. Bedford View also heading towards Germiston. Bumper-to-bumper traffic N3 southbound from Linksfield Road all the way to the Haldenace interchange, Protea Glen. Traffic remains sluggish on the N12 westbound approaching the R558. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
You last released an album, was it in 2015, if I'm not mistaken? And there are artists who do get worried when they haven't released in a while. You know, they get a bit worried. Oh, okay, we have to think constantly around when are we releasing music? How do you approach that as an artist?
So that's right. I mean, my second album from now on came out in 2015, and then Undilapa only came out 2024.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of artist who I don't want hyper visibility. I don't want to be a machine that's churning out music all the time because I want to stay relevant.
Nomfundo Aluva.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Babe,
Yeah?
the fridge light finally stopped flickering.
Yeah, I replaced it.
You replaced it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, on your own?
Yep.
You know what that means.
Party! Every excuse is a great one when you've got balloons, bubbles, gift wrap, cards, candles, and dress up.
I'm calling it the Fridge Light Festival!
The Crazy Store. Hey, you never know what you might find to have a good party.
Could I courier this toy carrot that my son glued his baby teeth onto?
For sure. We're your guy. How about a strip of slightly used duct tape? Yeah, we're your guy.
And this spoiler for my quantum.
Chief, we're your guy. With over 4,000 fast and flexible ways of couriering your parcel locally and internationally, whatever you need couriered, we're your guy. The Courier Guy. Visit thecourierguy.co.za.
Running a business is tough. You need tools that just work. That's why more South African businesses are switching to Mac. At iStore, we make it easy with 4,000 rands in added value when you switch. That's 3 years extended warranty and remote tech support, leaving you to focus on everything else. Switch to Mac with iStore, your expert partner. T's and C's apply. Mac at iStore. Run smooth as business should.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
A year in, what do we think we've learned so far about how people behave in the two-pot system?
It does seem to be accessed for emergency use. And what we've also seen is there seems to be a trend where individuals that have withdrawn from the two-pot system do it again.
Mike Atzets is the Global Chief Investment Officer at Momentum Investments.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by ABSA CIB, banking on local growth with Club Med South Africa to bring the first resort of its kind to the country, opening a new chapter for tourism and supporting growth in the hospitality industry. ABSA is a registered FSP. Your story matters.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Couple of you sending us notes and voice notes about irritating partners. Thanks for that on 072 702 1702 and Tutu commenting on the proposal coming out of the Mpumalanga legislature that the Kruger Park should be renamed, called the Skakuza National Park, I think. Tutu responds from Dobsonville and says, those who want to change the Kruger National Park name must be out of their minds. The Kruger Park is a world-class national park, and you don't want to mess with that. As I mentioned earlier, but you might not have joined us at that point. If you've just tuned in, welcome. We'll be talking to brand expert Tebe Ikalafeng. That's going to coming your way at 10 to 4. But right now, let's talk electricity. It's 23 minutes past 3.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
So, Electricity and Energy Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa has said that South Africa has turned a corner in addressing load shedding, and now we are going to now there are going to be interventions aimed at ending load reduction. So what did the minister say and what should we make of it? Energy expert Chris Yelland joins us now on 702 Drive. Mr. Yelland, welcome and thanks very much for giving us your time. Before we hear from you your thoughts on what the minister said about load reduction, have you always been very clear about the distinction between that and load shedding? My own sense is that for some people, if they don't have electricity, that's the fundamental problem. They're less concerned about the name given to their dilemma.
Exactly. The impact from a customer's perspective, the difference between load shedding and load reduction is really, it feels the same. You're losing power for several hours a day. So I think many customers really don't care whether you call it load shedding or load reduction. They just see this as rolling blackouts. And that is a matter to be dealt with. The reality is they are two different things.
Yes.
They feel the same, but the causes are completely different. And I think the minister was at pains to point this out. So we've been through. It seems like the minister has three major sort of project plans, on his plate. And the first one was load shedding, which is to a significant extent being dealt with successfully by the minister, who brings a new energy to the Ministry of Energy, completely different to his predecessor.
Right.
The next issue, of course, is load reduction, which it feels the same, but it's a different cause, has to be dealt with, and he is very ambitiously and with a high degree of confidence says that this will end within 18 months. So it's not that he's brought an end to load reduction,
right,
but he has a plan. He has a plan to bring it to the end in the next 18 months. And the last issue that he hasn't dealt with yet is the cost of electricity. So he's made it clear those are three issues: load shedding, load reduction, and doing something about the high cost of electricity, which has gone up by several 100% over the last few years.
Yeah, I'm looking 2007 to 2024 electricity price increase cumulative over that time, 937%. That's a big jump indeed. Chris Yelland, the load reduction interventions then, what are they, and do they make some sense to you? Are they doable?
They are doable, and I must stress this, that this is a holistic plan. It's not one silver bullet,
right?
But it's a whole lot of interventions that have to be addressed concurrently, and, well, not necessarily, across the whole country concurrently, but you've got to deal with all these different issues. It's not a case of that there's one or other silver bullet to this problem. So the four sort of areas that he touched on were, first of all, an upgrading of inadequate distribution infrastructure. That has been neglected for many years, inadequate investment. And of course, many areas in urban areas have fallen behind in terms of keeping pace with the increase of population, as migration takes place into the urban centers of the country, the infrastructure has just not kept up. So that has to be dealt with, a major upgrade in infrastructure, the capacity of transformers and lines and switchgear, etc. The second issue to be dealt with is the question of illegal connections and electricity theft, which causes certain areas, to have this load reduction. In other words, overloading of the infrastructure is taking place because of illegal connections and electricity theft. So there's no kind of financial benefit to saving electricity. When you're stealing electricity, you use much more of it than you may otherwise. If you were paying for it, you might be more prudent. So the whole question of electricity theft, is key. And part of the solution to this is the rollout of smart meters. And he's announced a major program of 6 million smart meters. I just want to stress one thing about smart meters. They're an important part of a whole chain of efforts that need to take place. A smart meter on its own does, bring certain benefits, but it doesn't deal with illegal connections before the meter. It doesn't deal with bypassing of meters. It doesn't deal with high-level fraud, where payments are diverted to the wrong people instead of the utility, and also fraud within the utility, of vending illegal electricity. So the meter is an important part of the chain, but there's a lot of other things that have to take place, including, sending staff out to investigate, disconnect illegal connections and bypassing of meters, prosecution, conviction in courts of law, punishment, of people, fining them or jailing them.
Yes.
If you have to deal with this whole chain, and right from top to bottom. Otherwise, you spend a lot of money, but you don't actually solve the problem. And then, lastly, he mentioned the question of what is called distributed electricity. In other words, instead of building lines and transformers and switchgear to get electricity to individual houses and people, to have rooftop solar PV and battery energy storage at a small level, at individual houses and distributed across the country, and also what they call microgrids, which is a small grid in a small community, a rural community, etc. So there's a whole range of initiatives that he announced. I think it is credible if this can be driven through with a high level of energy, which I think the minister has. He really is determined, and he is really showing a commitment, putting his neck on the block and saying, I will do this within 18 months. And that's what you need. You need this kind of high-level commitment, and he's shown it.
Thank you very much. Chris Yelland, energy expert, with his thoughts on the briefing given today by Electricity and Energy Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa. Now, you would have heard there from Chris if you didn't hear the press conference or catch details somewhere else. A pretty good summary and overview of all the various things he's going to do. So I would be very, very interested to get your views. What are you hearing? Are you encouraged by it? Certainly, I think it's fair to say that the minister has a pretty good record of doing what he says he's going to do. I'm just looking up, by the way, at the ENCA TV screen, which says Hawks raid city power offices. and the subheading is Corruption Investigation. So it'll be interesting to get some details on that. We'll see what we can find out. It's 3:30. Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news. Electoral reform is something we talk about a whole lot. Parliament was having this looked into, and Mbali Dlamini has an update on what exactly came out of the House today. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. A panel established to consider electoral reform options has failed to reach consensus, resulting in 2 reports being submitted to Parliament for consideration. A letter to the Home Affairs Minister from panel chairperson Richard Sizani sheds light on the disagreement between the members regarding the contents of the final report. The panel members who produced the majority alternative report are largely former and current Electoral Commission officials who say that the so-called original report appeared to be biased. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Over the years, there have been several panel reports suggesting changes to the country's electoral system as the electorate appeals for greater accountability from public representatives. This latest panel was chosen by Parliament in line with the Electoral Amendment Act passed in 2023, which provided for the matter to once again be considered following the introduction of independent candidates in last year's national and provincial elections. The majority report, supported largely by those who've worked for the IEC, proposes 3 main constituency-based options at the national level that would allow for individuals to directly elect 1 or more representatives from a district, and not only for all 400 MPs to be chosen by political parties. The original or minority report also presents 3 options, including the status quo and 2 smaller 2-tier compensatory and constituency systems. The reports are still to be considered by Parliament's Home Affairs Committee for further recommendation to the House. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Western Cape Mobility Department says the situation on closed taxi routes in some parts of Cape Town remains calm this week. It's been 9 days since routes from Ekurhuleni and Khayelitsha to Somerset West were shut down due to taxi-related violence. Recent conflict over these routes between taxi associations Kata and Kodeta led to deadly violence, with at least 10 operators and commuters killed. Kodeta has now approached the courts to overturn the 30-day taxi route closures, saying they're being unfairly punished by the provincial government. Ekurhuleni has more.
The route closures have been implemented to prevent further violence within the taxi industry in Cape Town. The Provincial Mobility Department says law enforcement agencies will remain deployed to ensure the enforcement of measures. Mobility MEC Isaac Sileku says his door remains open should rival taxi associations want to resume talks.
I would like to thank our commuters for their patience during this period. We will continue with the deployment of the alternative transport services.
It's still unclear when Kata and Kodeta will return to the negotiating table. Ekurhuleni, Eyewitness News in Cape Town.
To this now, the South African Weather Service has issued a yellow level 2 warning for severe thunderstorms in some parts of Gauteng as well as the northwest. Disruptive rain that may lead to localized flooding is expected to make landfall this afternoon. Forecaster Ekurhuleni Thobela warns that the storm system will also bring with it some strong winds as well as hail.
In our weather for today, we're expecting isolated to scattered chance of showers and thunder showers over most parts of the eastern areas of the country, covering the Free State, KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, as well as the northwest and the northern parts of the Northern Cape, as well as parts of the northern areas of Limpopo. A scattered chance of showers and thunder showers expected over the central as well as the southern parts of Gauteng.
In Norway, authorities have seized a drone operated by a 50-year-old man near Oslo's airport. The man was not arrested, but he will be questioned by police. The move comes after drones led to several flight disruptions in Norway as well as Denmark this week. Overnight Monday and Tuesday, air traffic at the Oslo airport was suspended for about 3 hours after a possible drone sighting was reported. It's a cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 20 and 21 degrees.
Edenvale still expect about a 20-minute delay heading into Bedfordview R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Giluli's interchange. While driving from Alex heading into Germiston, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic N3 south from Modderfontein Road to the Geldenhuys interchange, and in Protea Glen, traffic is already heavily backed up on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558.
The top story in EWN this hour. A panel established to consider electoral reform options has failed to reach consensus, resulting in 2 reports being submitted to Parliament for consideration.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
You're talking about the parents who are heading the family. I'm talking about the child-headed kids who are really wounded. When one wakes up, there's no one to guide you what to do. We have a lot of those kids because I can assure you, Bongani is a losing battle. So if those kind of kids can have somewhere to go to and be able to be grounded.
You've hit the nail on the head, because we often look at the problem when it's too late, and there's so many layers to this thing.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Every pothole, power cut, or burst pipe tells a story of frustration. But how that story ends is up to you. Fix Local helps you report local issues, escalate them, or as a last resort, fix them yourself, safely and legally. It empowers you with tools to work with or hold local government to account, so you can build the neighborhood you deserve. Visit fixlocal.org.za to take up issues in your area. 702 supports Fix Local. Let's walk the talk and fix local together.
Are you ready? What a question. It seems insane that suddenly you're supposed to know all the answers overnight. When to settle down, what cover you need, how to invest, why you should bother. So, if you're unsure, unsteady, and unstoppable, chat to a Liberty accredited financial advisor to take your first step today. Unready, set, go. Liberty. In it with you. All of you. Liberty Group Limited, a licensed life insurer and authorized FSP and part of the Standard Bank Group. Terms and conditions, risks and limitations apply.
Get down to Dis-Chem this Friday 26th to Sunday 28th September for our 1 weekend only 2+1 cheapest free deals on the widest range of sports supplements and energy drinks from top brands like Biogen, NPL, USN, Primal, Optimum Nutrition, Muscle Tech, 32GI and more. Get expert advice from our in-store consultants to help you reach your health and fitness goals. Excludes all advertised products. Only at Dis-Chem. Better health starts here.
Backed by popular demand, legendary jazz icon Kenny G will be performing at the Super Bowl at Sun City on Friday, the 3rd of October. Get ready for an unforgettable night of timeless hits and pure musical magic. Get your tickets from webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Breakout Events and 702.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John here from Randburg. What really makes me sad is we're 2 people in the house, and if I don't wash the dishes for maybe a day and a half, there are 8 cups and 10 drinking glasses that need to be washed. Good Lord, I can pull the hair out that doesn't exist on my head.
Hi John, it's Natasha here. So the little things that irritate my husband, he's a clean freak. So I thought I was clean until I met him. He's worse. So what actually happened? I think I dropped the ball. So now I'm the worst in the house. If I pick up something somewhere, I don't put it back, and he gets so irritated because, like, his cupboard and my cupboard are way too different. His is proper, like from the beginning of the year to the end. Mine, it gets packed today, tomorrow, it's a mess. I don't know how did that happen, but that's what happens. Thank you. Natasha here.
Good afternoon, John. Jabulani from Whiteville in Benoni. For me, it has to be something that irritates me. It has to be my wife's phone. I will be sitting there watching TV, and then with that volume of her phone, she couldn't hear anything, or sometimes she will bring the phone to the bed. Maybe I'm trying to sleep. It gets worse, man. it does irritate me a lot. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, boy, there's a lot of irritating stuff going out there. Tucha says, sleeping and snoring with an open mouth while watching TV. Then I play Amapiano full blast. It wakes her up every time. Okay, so sound wars seem to be coming into it. Loud phones in various parts of the house and while people are trying to watch TV. And then snoring versus Amapiano. It sounds like Amapiano is winning at this moment. 7:02 drive, it's 20 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Right, let's find out, speaking of winning, what's happening with the Proteas women. 2 World Cup warm-up ODIs. Well, they're trying to play them, but the weather's not being very helpful. Anthony Teixeira, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, John. That is true, as the first of those 2 warm-ups for the Proteas women has been abandoned after just 9 overs against Bangladesh. They had won the toss and elected to bat first, and it didn't go well. Tasman Brits ending 19 not out, but the rest of the top order really struggled. What we saw was captain Laura Volfart out for a golden duck. 2 overs later, Annery Dirksen was dismissed for just 2 runs. Marizan Cup didn't hang around too long, as well as the all-rounder was dismissed for 21. Their next and final warm-up will be Sunday against the Pakistan women. In football, Ekurhuleni United have extended their lead at the top of the Betway Premiership with a game in hand over Mamelodi Sundowns to 2 points. Bradley Grobler salvaged a 1-1 draw for them late on against Chippa United, while second place Sundowns had their unbeaten start to the season come to a crushing end with a 1-0 loss to Golden Arrows. In England, North London rivals Spurs and Arsenal, as well as Newcastle, navigated their way through the third round of the Carabao Cup. Meanwhile, Phil Foden starred as a young Man City side saw off a League One side Huddersfield Town 2-0. Pep Guardiola praised the playmaker.
When playing that position behind the striker is a real threat. So I think he play in the pockets perfectly, but when he play a little bit free and close to the box, he gives you something that is unique. We know that.
Switching to rugby now, where it's the opening weekend of the United Rugby Championship. Friday evening, the Stormers will battle holders Leinster, will be led by Ruan Nel, with new signings Ruan Ackerman and Clinton Swart getting the debuts off the bench. We also have 19-year-old Oli Riley named among the replacements, while the Bulls will begin at Loftus on Saturday against Ospreys. Springbok Gerald Stennekamp is fit enough and returns for the side. And in athletics, Sakani Simbine ended a promising 25 season with a double disappointment to finish outside the medals in the 100-meter final at the World Athletics Championship, while the SA 4x100-meter men's relay team fell short in their attempt to reach the final. The sprinter says he wants to continue being at the forefront of South African athletics while also helping the emerging new generation.
For me, it's just to keep on going, and just keep on doing what I'm doing, because that is what is feeding the next generation. Right now, it's just to keep on going, just to keep on pushing and making sure that I am inspiring them and motivating them and advising them where I can, It's always something I'm big about, and, just letting them know that the world is their oyster. They can go out there and conquer the world, and yeah, man, I'm excited for the future, excited for the young guys.
Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Coming up now for 17 minutes to 4, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Takealot. Happy delivered. Delays out in Bedfordview with details of that and all the other traffic developments. Karabo Chale, good afternoon again.
Yeah, heading towards Bedfordview, expect about a 20-minute delay. That's coming from the Edenvale area on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. Also driving through Bedfordview, heading towards Germiston, bumper-to-bumper traffic N3 southbound between Morafontein Road and the Geldenes interchange, while in Protea Glen, traffic remains heavily backed up. This is on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. Otherwise, traffic looking generally good at this stage of the afternoon. Just look out for those faulty traffic lights in Randburg at Witkoppen and Newmarket. Traffic lights also out of order in Edenvale at Morafontein Road and Van Riebeek. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Traffic is trafficking. The robots aren't AI, but more like an eye roll, and service delivery isn't delivering. But luckily, Takealot is. Shop anything from beauty and sport to tech and toys at everyday low prices and get it delivered to your door faster then you can get home even when you take the back roads. A delivery so quick the speed thrills. Halala with no limits. Just the open road of happiness before you. Take a lot. Happy delivered.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So we've been talking about small, silly, irritating things that can, I guess, become quite big things if you allow them to, in either from your partner or a housemate or somebody you live with. Sarame says when he uses a toothpick when I'm busy eating. Doesn't like that at all, does Sarame? How about you, Anthony Teixeira? Things that irritate you and things you do that irritate others. Let's keep it balanced.
Yeah, the big one for me has to be not turning off lights. The minute that somebody leaves a room and they leave a light on behind them, it absolutely bothers me. I just think it's a waste of electricity. And I mean, kilowatts are expensive nowadays.
Yes.
So you need to switch it off when you're leaving. Honestly, even a television, don't leave it on if nobody's going to be in the room watching it. Just make sure that it's off. You need to be conscious of that.
So under the Teixeira agreement, how long have you got to get back to the room where the lights have just been switched off? So let's say I'm in the kitchen. As far as you're concerned, I've just left lights off. But what if I've only left to put on a warmer pair of socks and I'm coming back to put on the kettle?
That's reasonable.
How long do I have?
Anything that lasts longer than an over in cricket, which is what, like a minute, 2 minutes, then you have to be switching off lights. Really? Just switch it off. It's not going to cost you a lot.
Well, I don't mean to interfere in your family business, but an over in cricket does not take 2 minutes.
I mean, it does.
If there's a fast bowler bowling, it's 4.5.
Yeah. I'm talking about spinners, though. Okay. I'm thinking like Paul Adams in his heyday. Okay. Like 2 minutes, tops. That's what needs to happen.
Can we have a no ball in there?
No. Legitimate 6 balls. That's what's happening. That's what we're doing. 2 minutes and then switch it off.
What do you do that irritates the people you live with?
I constantly leave doors open and unlocked to the house and windows. Constantly leave. There's always a draft somewhere if I'm at home.
Okay. And even you fall asleep at night with doors open?
Yeah. I mean, no, what? I would never do that, John.
Okay. Well, at least the lights won't be on, so, there's nothing to see that'll scare you.
Yeah, my son, you were saying what irritates me about things people do that I live with. My son opens the fridge every 5 minutes, and I ask him, and he just stares at it. And I'm like, what you saw 5 minutes ago, trust me, it's still there. And what you want, and it's not there, it remains not there. So... yeah, I'll be like, dude, do you really have to open the fridge every 5 minutes?
Maybe he's checking to see if you've been at the milk bottle, but there we go. Okay, again, I'm staying out of the Teixeira business. I'm staying out of the Chale business. Things in your house, in your household, with your partner, housemates or whatever, small, silly things that irritate you, things that you do that you probably don't think are silly, but they probably are, that you do that irritate other people. Give us a call. 011-883-0702 and 072-702-1702. Still to come, a very important and interesting matter at the Concourt. It's to do with issues of sexual consent in South Africa's legislation. After 5, we'll go into details with Dr. Sheena Swemmer, who is from the Center for Applied Legal Studies. It's a matter that they are involved in. It's a matter, of course, that involves and concerns all of us. 11 minutes to 4.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Right, let's focus our attention now on this. The Mpumalanga legislature, a motion put forward by the economic freedom fighters, has proposed a whole lot of renaming. And one of them is that the Kruger National Park should be renamed. The park should be called the Skukuza National Park. I suppose in a similar vein, they proposed the Kruger Mpumalanga International Airport should be named after the late former Deputy President David Didi Mabuza. However, let's focus our attention on the Kruger National Park. What is the value of this as a global brand? And if it were to be renamed, what would be involved in re-establishing the new brand as the destination that people have come to associate with premium and high value and memorable trips to view South Africa's wildlife? Let's get a view on that then. And welcome to 702 Drive, a man who knows all about branding. We welcome Tebe Ekurhuleni. He's founder and chairman of Brand Africa. And we welcome him to the show. Mr. Ekurhuleni, welcome. And thanks very much for giving us your time. We'll talk about books that you have written and one about to come out in a moment because they inform much of what you're going to say. But welcome to the show. The Kruger National Park brand, is there a way of putting a value on it? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John. Of course, there's a way of putting value. I mean, because if it's a brand, if it's a name, if it's a place, you can put a value. Whether it's a value of the structure itself, or whether it's the brand value of itself. Of course, it does have a name, and one can put a name, could put a value on that. Of course, it's been built over many years since apartheid days and all those. And named and so there is a value to that from a touristic perspective. But then, having said so, there are many places which had value before in the country, whether it's OR Tambo, which used to be the Johannesburg International, and over time people adjust to those changes.
So it's interesting you mention what used to be, Joburg International Airport. I mean, that in many ways isn't an optional choice. If you're flying to Joburg, yes, there's Lanseria, but pretty much you go to the main international airport in Johannesburg. But wouldn't Kruger be different in this sense, Mr. Ekurhuleni, that if people are choosing between the Ngorongoro Crater or Amboseli National Park or Kafue in Zambia because they want a safari experience, Kruger goes head-to-head with a series of other internationally known brands?
Of course, and it does. So I've got a different philosophy on all this. This is how I look at it. If you look at the history of the continent or even the country broadly, a lot of the names that are associated with the country either have a colonial history or has a post-colonial history. And the way I look at them in this way, that if the place is a natural place, like the Kruger in this instance, versus a structure. This is a structure that was created by somebody, or a place that was created by somebody. If it was created by somebody, I'm of the view that you must leave it as it is and go create your own things. That's how I look at things. But if it was the name of a place that pre-existed, or a brand that pre-existed, I think it's fair for us as a people, as a continent, as a country, to find ways to revert to what the indigenous names of the place were, because that is the natural truth of the place, or the original truth. If you look at a place like Kenya, for example, Kenya has wholly changed most of the pre-colonial names or the colonial era names to Kenyan names. And there's nothing wrong with that, and we've all adjusted to them. Now, you've mentioned the other places like Zambia and Ngorongoro Crater and all the places which I've been to. And even the names the names sound like indigenous names. So in that instance, I think sometimes it is fair to do that because the name carries history. And in this instance, the name Kruger obviously carries the apartheid history of South Africa, and it evokes the questions about who is this Kruger. And this is not a statue or a monument to Kruger, and it shouldn't be. It should be one of the assets of South Africa, which pre-existed even humanity, if you will, which can be returned to what the indigenous people used to call them. In this instance, I think it can be changed.
So there are a number of ways of looking at Paul Kruger, and obviously the history that you allude to and the conclusions you draw, I'm sure, would be shared by many people. But there is a counter argument that says he was the person that first proclaimed the national park and ensured its security as a place for wildlife, which is a legacy that all South Africans, including adjoining communities, people who found work there over many decades, would say, well, okay, there are things about the man and the history he's associated with that we don't connect to, but there's a legacy that he left that was positive, and maybe we should leave things as they are.
Well, in the South African instance, there's a lot of places which were expropriated and we were exposed to it from the indigenous people. And unfortunately, we cannot now continue that legacy, if you will. Just because the place was expropriated forcefully or violently, as is the history of many places in South Africa. In this instance, I don't think that argument will stand. The argument of saying that he's the one who proclaimed it. There's a lot of people who came to places, whether it's here, whether it's America, or everywhere, and declared and expropriated and pushed off the indigenous people and renamed the places after their own wishes. In that instance, I think it's a crime that needs to be corrected. But in the instance, I want to draw a quick parallel. But in the instance of, for example, the airport, that I have big problems with generally. Generally, I have big problems with if the airport was built by somebody called Foster. And you want to come and change it to Bramfisher, as I think was done in Bloemfontein. In that instance, I have a problem because I say, well, you didn't build that structure, so go build your own structure and name it what you want.
But in fairness, Mr. Kalafeng, John Forster didn't build the airport either.
Well, I don't know who built it. I'm the one in Bloemfontein. I don't know who built that airport, but I'm saying that if it's built by a Foster, or built and then named by Foster. And then in that instance, I say, well, it's a structure. It's like a statue. Don't remove. Don't go and rename a building. Rather, go set up your own structure somewhere. So in that instance, that's my view. But in the instance of something that is a natural truth, like land, in that space, I think then it's fair to revert to the indigenous name that the original people used to name it by. In that instance, I think it's fair. But if it was constructed by another person and physically the structure never existed and somebody put up a structure, in that instance, I don't think you should rename it. I think you should go put up your own structure somewhere else. And that's a problem that we have in South Africa, that we're trying to rename things in many other places. Instead of creating new structures and new places, we're trying to rename. But in the instance of the Kruger, I think it's a fair game to rename it to its indigenous name, because there were people who used to live there and called it something.
Thanks so much, Tebe Kalafeng. Interesting views. He is the founder and chairman of Brand Africa. His new book coming out is called Rooted and Rising, Reclaiming Our Culture and Redefining Our Global Influence. Your thoughts, 072 702 1702. It's 3 minutes to 4.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays
12 to 1.
On the Midday Report, every day from 12 to 1 p.m, we will bring you breaking news from the scene as it unfolds with newsmakers, reporters, commentators, experts and analysts. We'll explain the stories of the day, give you context for why they are important and what they mean for you. It is everything you need to know in 1 hour, from news to global events, business, sports, science, books, and always some good news too. Appointment listening every day at 12 with the Midday Report.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Well, you get so many South Africans who are famous for what they do, and Akani Simbine, our global star in sprint, on the track, 100 meter, 200 meter, and of course, earning a silver medal as part of the 4x100 meter relay team in Paris, is known for his prowess as an athlete, but he is known, and increasingly so, for something else. It's called the Akani Simbine Foundation, and it's dedicated to building brighter futures for children by focusing on sport, education and welfare. Their mission is to create opportunities and provide essential resources to empower the next generation. Now, tomorrow on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, we're going to be chatting with Akani Simbine about this foundation. We're finding out what they're doing to make life better for the next generation. And we're going to be hearing as well about how the Dis-Chem Foundation is helping to fuel their mission. Don't miss this inspiring discussion about the power of various people determined to do good working together, the power of collaboration. And that collaboration, by the way, includes you. Remember, every swipe of your Dis-Chem or Dis-Chem Baby City benefit card supports many great initiatives across the country. Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts. Only on 702.
Because naked people spend less time on insurance admin
and more time meditating and balancing their chakras. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds, and it's all online, so that means no long phone calls. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start meditating like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Checkers Little Shop is back with 46 new minis. Get one free when you swipe and spend 200 Rand on deals like Omo Auto Washing Powder 3 kgs for $119.99 and Clover Bliss Double Cream Yogurt 1 kg, any two for 79 Rand. Plus, stand to win a trip to Legoland Dubai. Simply buy any 3 participating products and swipe your extra savings card to enter. Valid until Sunday at Checkers. T's and C's apply.
This is EWN.
Ekurhuleni under pressure to probe the deputy head of its Metro Police, and will smart meters help in the fight against illegal electricity connections? Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. There are calls for the city of Ekurhuleni to launch a forensic investigation into EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi. This is over allegations that he is linked to suspected underworld figure Vusimuzi Cat Matlala. Mkhwanazi is accused of providing blue lights to Matlala, which were fitted to his private vehicles in 2023. He has also been named in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry for allegedly granting undue favours to the alleged crime boss. Alfara Mushwana reports.
2 years ago, Vusimuzi Cat Matlala's partner posted a video on Instagram showing her driving her children to school in a vehicle fitted with blue lights. It was later revealed that the lights belonged to the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department and were allegedly provided to Matlala by EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi. Following an investigation, police watchdog IPED recommended that disciplinary action be taken against the EMPD top cop. In response, 2 political parties in the Ekurhuleni City Council, IRASA and the ATM, have tabled a motion for his suspension. The 2 parties are also requesting a forensic probe into his alleged ties to Matlala, despite the IPED report already pointing to misconduct. The City Council is now holding a closed-door meeting to determine whether Mkhwanazi should be suspended. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Head of the SAPS's legal division, Petronella van Rooyen, has come out in support of National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola as well as KZN Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Testifying at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today, van Rooyen provided legal insight into issues of contention related to the instruction to disband the KZN Political Killings Task Team. The instruction was issued by Police Minister Senzo Mchunu on December 31st last year, who wrote to Masemola claiming the task team no longer added value in the SAPS's fight against political killings. Oren Singh has more.
While the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry will ultimately have the final say in whether the instruction by Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to disband the KZN Political Killings Task Team was unlawful or not, SAPS legal head believes it was. Major General Petronella van Rooyen outlined her stance on Mchunu's letter to the Madlanga Commission in Pretoria today.
It can never be appropriate for a minister to instruct the National Commissioner not only to disband the PKTT, but also to say that the disbandment must be done immediately.
She clarifies what Mchunu should have done instead.
For the minister to express that he no longer considers political killings to be a priority.
Van Rooyen will conclude her testimony today with a representative from the NPA expected to testify tomorrow. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
For live updates on that commission, you can visit ewn.co.za or you can watch the live proceedings on our YouTube channel. To the courts now, the Centre for Applied Legal Studies has made submissions in the Constitutional Court today for the Sexual Offences Act not to be amended. The constitutional challenge to have the Act change was launched by NPO, the Embrace Project, just 3 years ago. Last year, the NPO achieved a landmark ruling in the Pretoria High Court related to believed consent in sexual offence cases. Carlo Peterson reports.
Senior counsel for the Centre for Applied Legal Studies, Ekurhuleni Ekurhuleni, told a panel of Concord judges that changing the Sexual Offences Act could do more harm than good for victims. NPO, the Embrace Project, is arguing for rape-accused suspects to prove that reasonable steps were taken to ascertain consent. Ekurhuleni told the court crimes such as assault do not require the action of consent to be proven.
It is self-evident that an attack occurs without consent. The same principle should apply to sexual offences. Removing consent as a definitional element would reframe these offences as acts of violence rather than sexual acts, thereby desexualizing the crime and focusing on the accused's conduct.
Ekurhuleni says proving consent shifts the burden onto survivors with a focus on the complainant's behavior rather than that of the accused. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
To this now, Electricity Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa has announced plans to roll out specialized smart meters designed to identify illegal connections. The minister addressed members of the media in Pretoria today, outlining plans to end load reduction in 12 months. He says once all costs have been determined by Eskom, more than 6 million customers are set to receive the new meters. Ramokgopa says some other special features are that the meters in the pipeline would determine which customers qualify for free electricity. He broke down the benefits.
So with the rollout of smart meter, what that allows us to do is that if there are those who continue to be delinquent, by delinquency in this instance, I mean those that have the means, can afford, and they choose not to pay, we are able to isolate that customer alone.
And in Madagascar, police have fired tear gas and rubber bullets at hundreds of protesters in the capital. They have been demonstrating against repeated water and electricity outages. The Indian Ocean island is one of the poorest countries on the globe, despite vast natural resources. A heavy police presence patrolled the capital from early this morning after authorities had banned the demonstration yesterday. But the protesters defied the order and tried to break through police barricades. At least 3 demonstrators have been arrested. Gold is trading at $3,754.91 an ounce. The rand is at 17.37 to the dollar, 23.31 to the pound, 20.39 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $69.39 a barrel.
Centurion leaving Midrand is an accident scene N1 North near the old Joburg off-ramp. This is causing more than a 20-minute delay all the way from Olifantsfontein Road, so please avoid that route at all costs. Also leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic sluggish in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80, and heading into the Germiston CBD. There's traffic pressure M2 westbound from Cleveland Road all the way to Refinery.
And in your sport, Manny Livok shares how he's built confidence in kicking for posts. William Saliba agrees to a new 5-year deal with Arsenal, and Carlos Alcaraz survives an injury scare in Tokyo Opener.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 12 degrees, peaking at 23. Pretoria 13 and 24, and Vereeniging 12 at a high of 25. The top story in EWN this hour. There are calls for the city of Ekurhuleni to launch a forensic investigation into EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 8 minutes past 4. Good to have you with us on the show. Coming up, what does that yellow level 2 weather warning for Gauteng actually mean? We know storms are on the way, but what exactly is that warning all about? We'll get some clarity from the SA Weather Services shortly. And then we're going to take a look at the chrome industry and a particular aspect of it highlighted in a really excellent editorial today in Business Day. Now, why are we looking at this? Well, I'll make it a lot clearer later. But we are sitting on a fabulous reserve, 70% of the world's chrome ore. But the real value in it is actually processing it and turning it into something called ferrochrome, which is a crucial element of stainless steel. And yet we don't do it. We just send tons and tons and tons of it out to other parts of the world where they get the value and they get the jobs. What is going on? And why have we made this blunder? We'll talk to Yapi Fullard, who's CEO of Glencore Alloys, and somebody who knows a great deal about what's going on, and crucially, what should be going on. I think it's an important story because it gives us some insight into what other self-inflicted wounds there might be holding back economic growth and job creation. That's coming up at about 13 minutes past 4 o'clock. Right now, it's 10 past 4.
EWN Traffic.
Right, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Bridgestone Tyres, prepared to perform whatever the terrain. Now, let's find out what's causing those delays in Centurion. Good afternoon.
Yeah, we're receiving reports of a serious accident scene in the Centurion area. That's leaving Midrand N1 North near Old Joburg Road, causing huge delays all the way from Olifantsfontein Road. So please avoid that route if you can. Rather use the R55 or even Old Pretoria Road as alternatives. Also leaving the Pretoria CBD. Traffic is a bit sluggish in Hermanstad on Eskiam Patlele between Van der Hof and the R80. In Ekurhuleni heading into the Germiston CBD. That's leaving Joburg heading into the Germiston CBD. Traffic pressure. M2 westbound from Cleveland Road all the way to Refinery. Edenville also expect about a 20-minute delay. That's on the R24 westbound heading into Bedfordview. That's between Edenville Road and the Giluli's interchange. And in Protea Glen, traffic remains a bit sluggish on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Weekdays on the highway, weekends on the trail, in rain, on tar, or halfway up a gravel pass. With the new Bridgestone Jeweler All-Terrain AT002, you don't have to choose. Bridgestone, prepared to perform whatever the terrain.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, 12 minutes past 4. Let's clock in briefly then with the SA Weather Services. Forecaster Ekurhuleni Tobela joins us. We are facing in Gauteng after so many weeks of people saying, I wish it would rain. Mainly people, of course, who suffer from hay fever, I would think, and just hoping rain would settle some of the dust in the air. But we face a yellow level 2 warning. What exactly does that mean? Let's welcome Ekurhuleni Tobela, who's with the SA Weather Services. Ekurhuleni, thanks very much for giving us your time. A level 2 yellow warning. What's the worst that can happen at that level of potential storms? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for the invite. Well, the main thing is that we're expecting severe thunderstorms. So yellow level 2 is a high likelihood of the storms happening, but with minor impacts that are expected. The impacts that you can expect would be disruptive rain, or I'd say heavy downpours that lead to localized flooding, a possibility of damaging winds, as well as a possibility of hail in places, especially over the southern parts of Gauteng into the northwest. But most of the storms that are expected are mainly expected over the northwest, which would then stretch into the southwestern parts of Gauteng. That's why the warning is up until the central as well as the southern parts of Gauteng.
Does the warning speak to the severity of the storms or the likelihood, or both?
So it speaks to the both. So the high likelihood, the likelihood is high, but the impact will be of minor impacts of heavy rain, damaging winds, as well as hail. So it speaks of both, hence why it's a level 2.
Thank you so much, Ekurhuleni Tobela, forecaster at SA Weather Services. We need some rain. We do not need any more storms. My heart definitely goes out to people in KZN. If you live there, it seems whenever the rain comes, it really turns things upside down and does significant damage. Let's hope it's not too bad over the next few days. 14 minutes past 4.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary. Swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
What does extraordinary mean to you? Is it factories and warehouses that run themselves, or monitoring your assets in real time? Vodacom Business has connected more than 11.1 million IoT devices to enable smarter business, AI, cloud, enterprise apps, roundups, IoT and security. One seamless ecosystem. Search Vodacom Business IoT. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Vodacom Business. Further together.
Light the fire this game day with a winning lineup from Checkers, like Championship Boerewors thick or thin for just $109.99 per kilo. Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar Soft Drink 2 litres, 2 for 45 Rand, save 11 Rand. And Monster Energy Drink, a 500ml 4-pack for $57.99, save 12 Rand. Light the fire, South Africa, and let Checkers do the rest. Deals valid until this Sunday, only at Checkers.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for butcheries, restaurants, beauty salons, and more. Here's Gert.
I definitely have peace of mind that Business Outsurance is protecting our business. I do think Business Outsurance are the best insurance company out there, and they gave us the best quotes.
Switch to Business Outsurance, and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, I have to say I don't know much about the chrome industry, and I have to say it's an industry I haven't really paid a great deal of attention to. But my attention was properly grabbed by an excellent editorial in Business Day today. The headline, Chrome Blunder is a Self-Inflicted Wound. And I'll just read you a couple of paragraphs from that and then tell you why we're welcoming our next guest to the show. South Africa sits on more than 70% of the world's chrome ore reserves. Yet we persist with exporting the raw ingredient that could and should underpin a booming downstream industry. Stripped of its potential value and shipped overseas, our chrome becomes someone else's profit while we're left counting the cost. About 2.7 million tons are mined or diverted illegally each year, and an estimated 7.5 billion rand in lost beneficiation gains. One of the people quoted in the editorial is our next guest. He's CEO of Glencore Alloys, a major player in the chrome space. We welcome to the show Yapi Fullard. Mr. Fullard, welcome, and thanks very much for your time. If we have so much chrome and there is so much additional value to be gained by processing it and creating ferrochrome, why on earth aren't we doing this? Good afternoon to you.
Hi, John. Good afternoon to you. Yeah, I mean, if you have a look at South Africa, quoted that we've got 70% of the world's chrome deposits in South Africa. And if you have a look at, and I'm going to take you back some 20 years ago, we were the biggest ferrochrome producers in the world.
Right.
South Africa. So, and that's now a combination of various companies, which of Glencore was most probably one of the biggest ferrochrome producers in the world. So what happened since 2003, I mean, obviously we are also a mining company. I think it's very important to note that is that
yes.
The more you mine, the more profit you make. So, and then you then mine the chromite ore, and I mean we are also chrome miners. And if you then take out the ore and you convert that into ferrochrome, you then sell the product as ferrochrome into China or the rest of the world, and that is how stainless steel has been created. So very important is that you cannot make stainless steel without ferrochrome. So
right.
that is quite critical. So that's the first thing. And then secondly, if you have a look at how much we produced of ferrochrome in 2003 was about in the region of about close to 3 million tons of ferrochrome production.
Mm-hmm.
So for each 2 tons of chrome ore becomes 1 ton of ferrochrome, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the beneficiation occurs. But the real benefit is where you actually have got a 5 times financial multiplier because of the fact that you use reductants, you use steel, you use other industries that supply you upstream, downstream. And for that, it's a 5 times multiplier in terms of foreign revenue. So that's why beneficiation is so important to South Africa. I think you also quoted 7 million tons that's been exported illegally. That's now chrome ore.
Yes.
Now, if you can convert that into ferrochrome, obviously that's where you really add value. Last year, South Africa produced in the region of 27 million tons of chrome ore. So that means all the primary producers plus the integrated producers like ourselves and also Samancor mined or produced 27 million, of which we only converted 7 million tons of that 27 million tons into ferrochrome.
So you're leaving almost 6.5 million on the table.
No. You are actually leaving 20 million on the table.
Okay.
That means that because we've only got capacity in South Africa for about 4.5 to 5 million tons. So that means 2 tons become 1 ton of ferrochrome. So that means we've got capacity of in the region of about 9 million tons of chrome into ferrochrome. But yet last year we only produced 3.5.
So
most. Yes.
So if I can jump in, I mean, the numbers tell us that there's a huge opportunity lost, and your point about down and upstream industries, jobs on the line, I would think the cost to the country is immense. Why are we in this situation? And if there are fixes, why aren't they being implemented?
Yeah, I mean, John, the biggest thing is that we are not competitive towards China anymore. I think that's ultimately what happened, is that beneficiation moved outside of South Africa, and it's basically, actually based around 3 major components. And the first one is in, electricity. Electricity cost has risen from 2007 up to today more than 870%. That's where the problem comes in. I mean, inflation accumulative only is about 104%. So you could see that there was a massive increase in electricity price. And to convert chrome into ferrochrome, 30 to 40% of your total cost of production lies within electricity. That's where the biggest problem comes in. And I'm sure that you've heard today as well, the Minister of Electricity gave his media release as well. We also met with him on Friday, and they are really trying to assist us to make sure that we can beneficiate in equilibrium with, let's say, China. So that means that we will be then competitive. And that's the biggest thing, is that we did not stay up. Unfortunately, and I know that electricity, in terms of reliability and also capacity, we could not stay up because the chrome miners are going to keep on increasing mining because that's where the demand lies. So you cannot punish the miners or the non-integrated people by not exporting. But what we could have done is we could have converted all that chrome that we are produced in South Africa into ferrochrome, which we didn't.
So just to understand better, I mean, when you don't use the plant and the facilities we have, is there a turning point at which mothballing becomes complete redundancy? I mean, if changes were to be made, do we have capacity that's not quite ready to hit the road, but almost?
Yeah, 100%, John. Glencore, we've got 22 furnaces. Now, we've mothballed our first complex, which was 4 furnaces in 2020. So we closed down Leidenburg smelter. Now, unfortunately, it's going to cost me close to 2 billion rand to restart that one. Last year, we closed down Rustenburg smelter, but that one we kept in what I call hot care and maintenance.
Right.
And it's ready for me to restart. So if, the minister or, government gives me electricity price that's competitive, I can, first of all, restart all the smelters that we've, placed on, suspension, which the people are still there. Remember, we are now in that Section 189. So we are in the process of looking at means and ways not to actually retrench people. So we've got the people already, and I mean, we're still paying for them. So if I can get a cheap electricity price tomorrow, I can then make sure that we've got capacity to restart the current complexes. I can also restart Rustenburg smelter, and so does also Samancor. So we are very much in the same situation, if that makes sense.
Thank you very much, Japie Fullard, CEO of Glencore Alloys. As I say, very, very interesting editorial in Business Day. And I'm always keen to, because, we often talk about the economic situation we're in. The economy is not growing, jobs are not being created. We focus a lot on the kind of tariff situation, increasingly, of course, because of what's going on in the United States, lack of competitiveness in markets, and obviously there is the giant impact and influence of China as both a consumer of raw materials and of products. But where we as a country are not using either the resources we have or the opportunities that we might grab, I think it's always interesting to explore those. So thank you to Yapi Fullard, CEO of Glencore Alloys, giving us his time on 702 Drive. If you work, by the way, in the chrome, ferrochrome or stainless steel industry, maybe as an analyst, maybe as somebody running a plant or working at one, and you've got some insights or thoughts, please do give us a call. But I'm absolutely convinced, yes, there are these storms and circumstances that we can't quite control, but are we doing the best with what we have? This would suggest we're not. Your views, please, on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702, 25 past 4.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
At what point does one's beliefs become a mental health crisis?
I think it becomes a mental health crisis when the beliefs are not actually life-giving. In other words, the beliefs don't really let you flourish and do well in the world. What is problematic is when a belief system doesn't enable you to do that. And that's very often what we see in cults.
Professor Maria from the Department of Religion Studies at the University of Johannesburg.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Joburg, mark your calendars. The Music and Lifestyle Expo 2025 is back on 14 and 15 of November at the Sandton Convention Centre. Experience a world where music, trade, fashion, food and lifestyle collide, all under one roof. From engaging masterclasses and a vibrant exhibition floor featuring fine wines, crafts and lifestyle brands to unforgettable live performances by Dr. Jonathan Butler, Lyra, Tandiswa Mazwai, Ringo, Major League DJs, and more. This is one expo you can't miss. Tickets available now at ticketpro.co.za. Proudly endorsed by the G20 Summit.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 1 kg stock country spread 40% medium fat spread tub for $45.99. Save 12 Rand with Spar rewards, or 2 liter Coca-Cola regular only. Buy 2 for 42 Rand. Save 14 Rand with Spar rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Competition ends 7 October. Price is valid 23 September to 7 October 2025 while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
You've reached in his Renault Duster en route to Dullstrom. This journey is taking to try a sport far more boring than its name might suggest. Fly, fishing. He'll be in his Renault Duster, which he bought with 40,000 Rand trade-in assistance.
Leave it all behind in the new Renault Duster with 40,000 Rand trade-in assistance. Offer exclusive to Renault Financial Services. Product of APSA. T's and C's apply.
People are talking, everybody's talking, and they're saying it's time to make insurance great again. They said our low premiums were fake news. Wrong. We're putting customers first. We're gonna drain the insurance swamp. It's full of hidden fees. But when we clean it up, believe me, it's gonna be huge.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision people are saying ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just like her insurance.
EWN Business.
Right, let's get the very latest from the markets. Stephen Curtis, good afternoon to you.
Afternoon to you, John. Well, the gold price, you may recall, earlier in the week was at around $3,790, now dropping back quite a bit over the last couple of days to around $3,725 an ounce. That's brought down gold shares, but platinum going the other way, past $1,500 for the first time in a little while this week, and that's really pushed up platinum shares on the JSE, while gold shares are down. So Northern, Implat, Sibanye, Valterra all up by around 4%. Glencore up as well on the day, while Harmony are down 5.69%. Goldfields down 4.5%. DRD Gold, Anglo Gold also down quite significantly on the day. Barlow World saying today that their group revenue was down 10% in the 11 months to the end of August. EBITDA was down 9%. Their revenue from operations here was down by nearly 4%. Their strong performance in Mongolia, and that's really been driving the group, John, that's tapered off. Large machines there have now been delivered, which means that they won't be getting value from them. Their revenue there was down 8.5%, and of course they've still got issues in Russia. Their revenue there was down 54%. Toga Sun reporting today they've been given permission to move their Caledon casino license to Somerset West. Last time I checked, John, a lot more people lived in Somerset West and near Somerset West than Caledon in the Western Cape, so they'll move their casino there. It's taken 10 years to get to this point, and I suspect there will be questions about why the process took quite so long. And then we've been talking about inflation and interest rates. PPI for August 2.1% compared to 1.5% in July. Food, beverage and tobacco products really drove that increase. In the US, the main indices opening lower. They're still lower now, so more economic data came in. There were also suggestions from a Federal Reserve official that in fact there won't be further rate cuts right now. So the Dow Jones is down 0.25%, the Nasdaq is down 1%, the S&P 500 is down 0.7% on the day so far. The gold price lower, but still, extraordinary, $3,725.61 an ounce. Platinum, $1,502.20. Brent crude, $68.46. The rand to the dollar losing a bit of ground, John. 17.41 to the euro, 20.34 to the British pound, 23.28. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Okay, let's find out what's happening out in the wide world with Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon to you.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. SASSA beneficiaries are set to receive a small increase of 10 Rand to their monthly grant payments starting next month. The South African Social Security Agency announced the small bump in funds today, citing its inadherence to Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana's budget tabled for 2025-2026. Agency spokesperson Andile Chona has broken down the figures recipients can now expect.
The social grant amounts will be increased as follows. The old age grant will increase from 2,310 to 2,320. The old age grant for persons older than 75 years old will increase from 2,330 to 2,340.
In KwaZulu-Natal, a 56-year-old man has now been sentenced to life behind bars for the rape of a teenager in Hlobane near Vryheid in December 2020. The man was convicted of the rape last week in the Vryheid Magistrates Court, and the same court handed down sentence today. At the time of the incident, the victim was 13 years old, and the convict was known to her as he was dating her mother, while the victim has expressed in a statement to the court that she is still haunted by the violation. The National Prosecuting Authority has expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the case. NPA spokesperson Natasha Ramkinsun-Kara.
In addition to the life sentence, he was declared unfit to possess a firearm, and the court ordered that his name is entered into the National Register for Sex Offenders. The NPA welcomes the successful finalization of this matter.
The Anglican bishops of Southern Africa have reiterated the call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. This is amid an escalation of attacks on Palestinians in Gaza, which have claimed over 64,000 lives. The Gaza conflict was sparked by a Hamas attack on Israel on October 7th, 2023, where at least 1,200 Israeli citizens were killed. Attacks have continued in Gaza despite calls for a truce from world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly. Ekurhuleni has more.
The Anglican bishops of Southern Africa said the recent breakdown of ceasefire agreements and the continued bombardments in the region have further endangered civilians, particularly women and children. They say international reports confirm that the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza has deepened, with over 90% of the population displaced and the health system near total collapse. In a statement, the Church's Synod of Bishops says the escalation of the conflict in the region region raises the real threat of a wider war and has divided the international community. They are calling for unhindered delivery of humanitarian aid, accountability for violations of international law, the release of all hostages and political prisoners, and renewed commitment to peace building. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been sentenced to 5 years in jail. This after he was found guilty of criminal conspiracy in a case related to millions of euros in illicit funds from the late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Sarkozy, who claims that the case is politically motivated, was accused of using the funds from Gaddafi to finance his 2007 election campaign. In exchange, the prosecution alleges that Sarkozy promised to help Gaddafi to combat his bad reputation with Western countries. The Paris Criminal Court has, however, acquitted him of all other charges, including passive corruption and illegal campaign financing. A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, lows of between 12 and 13 degrees and highs of between 23 and 24.
Accident scene in Centurion, that's leaving Midrand N1 North near Old Joburg Road, slowing down traffic from Olifantsfontein Road. Also leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic is sluggish in Hermanstad on Eskiam Patlele between Van der Hof and the R80. And if you're heading into the Germiston CBD, expect about a 20-minute delay. M2 westbound between the Cleveland off-ramp and Refinery Road.
The top story in EWN, SASSA beneficiaries are set to receive a small increase of 10 Rand to their monthly grant payments starting next month.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
You're talking about the single parents who are heading the family. I'm talking about the child-headed kids who are really wounded. When one wakes up, there's no one to guide you what to do. We have a lot of those kids because I can assure you Bongani is a losing battle. So if those kind of kids can have somewhere to go to and be able to be grounded.
You've hit the nail on the head because we often look at the problem when it's too late, and there's so many layers to this thing.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Traffic is trafficking. The robots aren't AI, but more like an eye roll, and service delivery isn't delivering. But luckily, Take-A-Lot is. Shop anything from beauty and sport to tech and toys at everyday low prices and get it delivered to your door faster than you can get home, even when you take the back roads. A delivery so quick the speed thrills. Halala with no limits, just the open road of happiness before you. Take-A-Lot, happy delivered.
It's that time of the year. Sneezing, itchy, watery eyes, blocked noses and coughs. It's time to live, work, play and sleep allergy-free. For trusted relief for you and your family this allergy season, ask your pharmacist for the Adcock Ingram OTC Allergy Survival Pack. With products like Allergex Non-Drowsy, Cetacid, Levogex and more, we have you covered. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC. And visit beprepared365.co.za.
Naked people smell expensive because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums and more money on fancy French colognes with names they can't pronounce. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And because it's all online, it also costs less. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start smelling like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi John, regarding your chrome processing in South Africa, a little bit told me that they're busy developing a plant in Richards Bay to process chrome. I might be wrong, but that's what a little bit told me.
Good afternoon. My name is Peter. I'm phoning from Harties. There's so many wash plants for this chrome, illegal wash plants, that is going up in and around Harties and between Hartbeespoort and Brits and between Mooinooi and Majakaning. that it's like going up like mushrooms, and most of them are illegal. Just something to think about.
Yeah, thank you for both of those. So we'll check out what's happening in Richards Bay. But that sounds like a significant crisis in the Northwest, which has enough problems. Those illegal wash plants. I'm curious to know on what kind of scale they work, how big they are. And I mean, getting 2.7 million tons of chrome out of the country, that you can't do that without doing it on some sort of scale. So there are many questions raised by that as well. But thank you. I did ask anyone who had insight into South Africa's chrome industry to give us a call, and appreciate those 2 voice notes. Anything you want to talk about, by the way, any of our conversations you want to throw in your thoughts about, get us on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. It's 20 to 5.
EWN Sport.
Springboks in action on Saturday. I must say we've missed them, after that absolutely fabulous win out in New Zealand. But I assume they're saying, well, new opponents, new game, new challenge.
Yeah, good afternoon, John. That has sort of been what they've been singing from the hymn sheet. But one person that's been talking quite honestly is Manie Libbok. Of course, he starred for the Springboks in that 43-10 win over the All Blacks. 6 of his 7 shots at goal were successful. He was the playmaker throughout it. He's also had a lot of criticism that he's faced during this campaign in particular, as the world champs struggled in that game against the Wallabies at Ellis Park. The fly half shared how he's handled his nerves since then on the field, especially when it comes to his kicking game.
Yes, the pressure was on when I got on the field, but I took a lot of confidence out of the preparation we had throughout the week. And like we train nowadays, it's always like game intensity, so it wasn't something new for me to go into the field. I just go on there and then obviously go do a job and go do whatever I need to do in that given situation, and try to put the team in the best possible position to get a result.
The Boks will be clashing with Los Pumas Saturday afternoon. Meanwhile, England women have named an unchanged team for the Women's Rugby World Cup final Saturday against Canada. They're favourites heading to their home final in front of 82,000 capacity sold-out Twickenham. In cricket, the Proteas women warm-up World Cup clash against Bangladesh was abandoned due to inclement weather. In football, William Saliba agreed to a new 5-year deal with Arsenal. The French defender joined the North Londoners in 2019 and since making his debut in 2022 has become a key part of the side, which finished second in the Premier League 3 successive years, while Nottingham Forest started their first European campaign in 30 years with a 2-2 draw with a Spanish side, Real Betis. Other selected results saw Roma beat Nice 2-1, Braga winning 1-0 against Feyenoord. This evening, RB Salzburg will be meeting Porto, while Aston Villa host Bologna at Villa Park. Manager Unai Emery shared the season's target. The first one is an automatic spot in the round of 16 places.
A very good team. Last year they were playing Champions League with us. They played here, we won, but it was a difficult match. The same coach, a lot of same players. It's a difficult team. We are wishing to start Europe. Our objective in Europe as well is to be tied to get the first 8 position.
And in tennis, Carlos Alcaraz started his Japan Open with a 6-4, 6-2 win over Sebastian Baez. The Spaniard took a fall in the first set, which left him visibly in pain and clutching his left ankle. After a rain delay, the US Open champion returned to the court heavily strapped, sharing after the win that he wasn't aware of the extent to which the injury will affect his tournament. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, at 17 minutes now to 5 o'clock, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Got a problem in Centurion, an accident, I believe.
Yeah, that's on the N1 northbound near Old Joburg Road, slowing down traffic all the way from Allendale. So try to avoid that route if you can. Rather use the R55. That's the better option at this stage. Also leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic is a bit sluggish in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80. Also heading into the Germiston CBD. Expect about a 20-minute delay. M2 westbound from from the Cleveland off-ramp all the way to Refinery. It's not clear what's causing this delay at this hour. So if you are on that route heading into Germiston, please let me know. WhatsApp me on 072-702-1702. Still in Ekurhuleni, Edenvale, traffic pressure traveling towards Bedfordview R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Ekurhuleni interchange. And in Protea Glen, traffic remains heavily backed up N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 5.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Explore the wonders of Mpumalanga. Discover the ultimate wildlife experience that brings you closer to nature. Get your adrenaline rush with endless adventure activities. Explore breathtaking 4x4 routes or hike the Blader River Canyon, the third largest in the world. Unwind with spectacular landscapes and majestic waterfalls. Make Mpumalanga your destination of choice. Mpumalanga, embrace the unknown, live the adventure. This message is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Visit mpumalanga.com for more information.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Now, there are reality TV shows, there are game shows on TV. There's all sorts of stuff where ordinary members of the public can become part of a TV show. You don't have to be an actor. You don't necessarily have to be a singer unless you want to go on Idols, in which you have to believe that you could be a singer. But it's been a real feature of television probably over the last 2.5 decades, with all these shows with people being invited to take part. Maybe you remember this one.
Time up. I can't complete the question. You only banked 800 Rand in that round. Who'd be out of their depth in a car park puddle? One of you's about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
So that was a show that was very, very popular in South Africa. And before I ask the question that I'm about to ask you, I believe we have not one but two weakest linked contestants in the room. Yeah. I've only just discovered, because I know who the other one is. I'll explain that in a moment. But Karabo Chale, you were on the weakest link. How did you go?
Yeah, no, it was an interesting thing that I did there. Fiona Coy was very intimidating, but I was up for the challenge. You know, I was a big fan of the weakest link, so I could do it on the couch, and then I thought I could do it in the studio. It was scary, but I did very well. I think I was the strongest link, I think once or twice, and I was voted out when there was like 3 people left, and it was a strategic vote.
Yes,
it's because I was a threat, you know.
Yes.
And I remember when they voted me out, Fiona Coy was livid. He was like, I don't understand what we're doing here. What is wrong with Karabo? He was like the strongest link. And I was like, relax, it's okay. I was just a threat to them. So yeah.
Was it fun?
I enjoyed it. And I remember when you were watching it on TV, I gathered all my family members and my girlfriend, and everybody was excited and proud of me.
So I was also on the weakest link because they had a round which was radio presenters.
Yes, mine was more the youth.
Okay.
It was youth month kind of episode, yeah.
Okay, so I was on, and I got to the last round was me and Alex J.
Oh, gee.
Yes,
Okay. And you won.
And I mean,
God,
what can I say? I won. I was very pleased, actually. But tell me this. Is there a reality show or a game show or any kind of TV show of this kind, we can go pretty broadly, that you've actually been part of? And if you have been, how did it go? And if there's a show that you really wish you could be on, will tell us what the show is and why. Give us a call with your thoughts on that. Anthony Teixeira, TV game shows?
Yeah, I've had a few that I've absolutely enjoyed over the years. I'd never do something like that, having to do a quiz.
Yeah.
Because I just think I'd be tongue-tied. I don't know if I'd be able to handle that pressure. But when I was growing up, there was something called Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Okay.
I used to give on like Nickelodeon back in the day, and there was like basically 6 teams that then would like look for half a medal, and then you get 2 medals and you'd win something big. And I absolutely wanted to go on that game show, and then discovered that it had been recorded like a decade before it hit South African TVs. But that was something I absolutely always wanted to do.
So game show experience, game show dreams that you might have had or still have. Maybe you worked on one of those shows, by the way. I mean, the Backroom Crew, my experience of being on a TV show was actually really interesting to see how many people are working behind the scenes and the importance of what they do. So game shows is what we're talking about. Reality TV, another version of that. But give us a call if you've got something to share. 072 702 1702. It's 11 minutes to 5.
John Perlman
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Still to come on the show, we'll be catching up with what happened at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into Police Corruption and related issues. We'll talk to Oren Singh, our EWN reporter, and then a very important matter before the Constitutional Court dealing with issues of sexual consent. Dr. Sheena Sweme is head of gender justice at the Center for Applied Legal Studies. We'll get her take on the court matter, which her organization is involved in, but also what the court heard today. Give us a call about that if you've been watching and you have some views. Otherwise, listen up for Dr. Swemmer. She's with us at about 14 minutes past 5.
You're with John Perlman
On 702.
So this is the time of the week, it being Thursday at 10 to 5, when we do what we call your house, your home. We look at various aspects of the place where you live. It might be decorating, it might be renting or leasing or buying or selling. And of course, we spend some time out in the garden. Today we do it once again in the company of gardening expert Paul Fonk. And our focus is on, with rain imminent, or hopefully imminent. We got a little update earlier from Lihlohonolo Tobela from the SA Weather Services, but concerned that the rain seemed to be going through the southwest bit of Gauteng and then making its way into Northwest Province. But either way, there will eventually be rain. So how do you prepare? Paul, a very good afternoon to you. Rain, we should have had some by now, but I guess the window is all the way to the middle of October. But what are the key things that you think we need to be doing? I'm sure lawn preparation is probably quite high up that list.
Very much so. Yes, John. Lovely chatting again. I was interested in your discussion with the Chrome guys, and they are fully reliant on affordable electricity. We in the garden are reliant on weather conditions. It's always up to the weather. So it's this time of the year where we feverishly wait for a bit of rain, just a bit of rain to get into the soil. It's not time for proper summer rains yet. They normally come around November. And if you remember last year, they didn't come at all until December. There was so much rain we needed an ark to get out of there.
Yes.
But, yeah. So we expect rain imminently. That would be an absolute blessing if we get some. But you need to do some prep before the rain gets here, because the garden, literally the soil, has turned into concrete during winter. It's been settled, and you need to aerate it. You need air in there, and you also need the water to be able to get in somewhere so that it stays and it doesn't just run off. So you need to get your lawn and your garden beds forked over. That's not a dirty word. It's just an idea to get the fork in there, wiggle, move it around, and get the soil nice and loose so that you can absorb the life-giving rain that comes down.
Yeah, it's a tricky time because, some would say, well, water your own garden, but water as supplied by the city of Johannesburg is something you can't absolutely rely on. What else, though? Okay, so we need some rain. We need to do the forking that you described. And if you're thinking of planting, I mean, do you have to wait for the rain to come before you can even think about it, or can you get in ahead of what you optimistically believe is still to come?
Definitely. The whole of gardening was designed by someone slightly more clever than we are. Get some seeds into the soil. Make sure they don't dry out. So you need the soil damp, but you don't need it soaked. And the idea of watering lawns at the moment, probably don't do that. You cannot irrigate a rainfall, but make sure that the soil is prepped. But what you can do is to get in there and start planting veggies, herbs, and lawn. If you have bad sections of the lawn, then now would be the time to prepare and get some seed in and get it in before the rain comes. So you've got a good structure of roots in the ground before the rains actually come down.
In terms of other stuff, getting gardens and perhaps generally outdoor areas of your home well set up for the rain that, when however late it might be, I think we are going to have plenty of rain. Is there anything you should be doing that's kind of preventive? For example, if you've got anything growing on structures, climbers or whatever, is this a time to make sure everything's as sturdy as it should be? I know with the heavy rain, plants can fall, trees can fall as well.
Yeah, they can indeed. Many people have got trellis and wood in the garden holding things up. Just check the structure of it, because it may have almost become dilapidated by now. Just check it and make sure that it's secure. Another no-brainer, of course, is to clear the gutter, because most gutters, if they haven't been cleaned yet, will be full of leaves, and then you're going to have potential leaks and damage in roofs and ceilings. So get that cleaned up. And in general, it's time to get out into the garden now. So you need to rake up, clean up, and get ready for the brilliant summer that is definitely around the corner.
Thank you so much, Paul Fong, gardening expert, getting your garden ready for the summer rains. We do this, as I say, every Thursday, not always out in the garden, sometimes in the house, sometimes choosing paint and making furniture selections, or regrettably speaking to lawyers about transfers and transactions and rental arrangements that might have gone wrong. But it really is a wide open canvas. And if there's something you would like us to discuss or something you would like to make a contribution on, just drop me a note on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. Now, earlier we were talking about the proposal from the Mpumalanga legislature, which, by the way, does not, as I understand it, have any authority to push for they can ask for a change of the name of the Kruger National Park, but that would be a national decision. Sandparks would be involved, the National Geographic Place Names Council. I think I've got that right. Anyway, I've certainly described the work they do. They would get involved, and the process would involve more than just politicians in Mpumalanga. But the proposed name change is Skukuza. But Nikki sends us this in regard to the name Skukuza and gives us a sense of how that became popular, and says the first chief game warden of the Kruger National Park was Colonel James Stevenson Hamilton, and the locals called him Skukuza, which means he who sweeps clean. So if there is a sense that Skukuza would be a complete sloughing off of any connection with a colonial or apartheid past, the name Skukuza seems to be very much connected to Colonel James Stevenson Hamilton. But anyway, give us a call on that issue if you like on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
You last released an album, was it in 2015, if I'm not mistaken? And there are artists who do get worried when they haven't released in a while. They get a bit worried. Oh, okay, we have to think constantly around when are we releasing music? How do you approach that as an artist?
So that's right. I mean, my second album from now on came out in 2015, and then Undilapa only came out 2024.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of artist who I don't want hyper visibility. I don't want to be a machine that's churning out music all the time because I want to stay relevant.
Nomfundo Aluva.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Looking for a safe, stylish way to stay in the home you love? Lifter's premium European designed home lifts are the perfect solution. With over 500 installations across South Africa, Lifter makes everyday living easier, safer, and more comfortable with no costly renovations. Stay independent and future-proof your home today. Call Lifter on 080 7373 737 or visit lifter.co.za. Lifter, your home, your lift, your freedom.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
You've reached in his Renault Duster en route to Dullstrom. This journey is taking to try a sport far more boring than its name might suggest. Fly. Fishing. He'll be in his Renault Duster, which he bought with 40,000 Rand trade-in assistance.
Leave it all behind in the new Renault Duster with 40,000 Rand trade-in assistance. Offer exclusive to Renault Financial Services. Product of APSA. T's and C's apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hey John, great show as always. I always wanted to be on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Just like Karabo, I thought I was a bit of a brainiac when I was younger. And I would always know the answers to all the questions. And my cousin had the computer game and would always play it and would always get to the end. So I always thought I could do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Hello, mine would be Amazing Race. That would just be wonderful to do with my daughter. I think it's the best reality show I've ever seen. Thank you, bye.
Hi, John. This is Warabile from Pretoria. I participated in a show called Friends Like These. And from our circle, my 4 friends knew each other best, but they ended up losing because they chose the incorrect answers, and I was the only one, the decider. And guess what? I got the last answer wrong, and then we didn't win the trip. Great show as always. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Really enjoying hearing your stories of being on game shows or the game shows that you absolutely wished you'd had a chance to take part in. Keep those coming for us. We'll talk about them more after the news at 5, but it is 5 o'clock right now.
This is EWN.
An Ekurhuleni Metro top cop placed on special leave, and Ramokgopa vows to bring an end to load reduction. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi is officially on special leave following allegations that he is linked to suspected underworld figure Vusumuzi Kat Matlala. The Metro has confirmed Mkhwanazi applied for the leave, which has now been granted. At the same time, the City Council is currently meeting to decide whether the EMPD top cop should be suspended. Last week, KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi dropped his name before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, accusing him of granting undue favours to Matlala. Alpha Ramushwana has more.
It's been a year since EWN reported that EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi allegedly handed over blue lights to attempted murder accused Vusumuzi Kat Matlala. Despite police watchdog IPED recommending disciplinary action against him, Mkhwanazi was instead promoted to acting head of the EMPD. It was only after he was implicated at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry that the city moved to act. Ekurhuleni spokesperson Paramile Mbengashe has confirmed that Mkhwanazi is now on special leave.
I can confirm that he made the application on Tuesday earlier this week, and that special leave was approved. As to how long the process of applying for leave is a private matter between an employee and the employer.
The Ekurhuleni City Council will decide today whether Mkhwanazi should be suspended. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
As eyebrow-raising details continue to be shared before the ongoing Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, crime expert Chad Thomas believes at the heart of an internal battle within the police service is the fight for control of crime intelligence. Thomas has been following the Commission's proceedings in Pretoria and has accused suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu of freezing vacancies within crime intelligence as part of an ongoing battle for control. He says this includes controlling millions attached to the Secret Service account, otherwise known as the Slush Fund. Mchunu's directive was contained in a letter to National Police Commissioner Fanny Masemola last year, which also included an instruction to disband the KZN Political Killings Task Team. Oren Singh has more.
During a testimony before the Madlanga Commission today, head of SAPS's legal division, Major General Petronella van Rooyen, said the decision by Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to halt the filling of all vacancies within crime intelligence amounted to executive overreach.
There is, however, no provision in the SAPS Act or employment regulations that authorizes the minister to blanketly halt the filling of posts.
Crime expert Chad Thomas says due to the nature of its functions, crime intelligence has access to enormous amounts of money.
Whoever controls that slush fund has the potential to control a lot of funding that could be used for illicit purposes.
Crime intelligence head Dumisani Khumalo, a close ally of KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, remains embroiled in a scandal related to the irregular appointment of an official into a highly specialized post within the unit. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
In the courts now, the Constitutional Court has reserved judgment in a challenge to have the Sexual Offences Act changed. The Centre for Applied Legal Studies made submissions to the court today for the Act not to be amended. A constitutional challenge was launched by NPO, the Embrace Project, 3 years ago. Last year, the NPO achieved a landmark ruling in the Pretoria High Court related to believed consent in sexual offence cases. Carlo Peterson has more.
Senior counsel for the Centre for Applied Legal Studies, Ekurhuleni Ekurhuleni, told a panel of Concord judges that changing the Sexual Offences Act could do more harm than good for victims. NPO, the Embrace Project, is arguing for rape-accused suspects to prove that reasonable steps were taken to ascertain consent. Ekurhuleni told the court crimes such as assault do not require the action of consent to be proven.
It is self-evident that an attack occurs without consent. The same principle should apply to sexual offences. Removing consent as a definitional element would reframe these offences as acts of violence rather than sexual acts, thereby desexualizing the crime and focusing on the accused's conduct.
Ekurhuleni says proving consent shifts the burden onto survivors with a focus on the complainant's behaviour rather than that of the accused. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
To this now, Electricity Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa has committed to ending load reduction in the next year. Load reduction refers to the intentional interruption of electricity in specific areas where the network is overburdened. He was briefing the media in Pretoria today about the department's interventions. Jabulile Mbata reports.
Electricity Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa reminded the public of his promise to end load shedding in the country. Since taking office, he has implemented measures to achieve that goal, including the use of load reduction. He highlighted that the country's generation capacity has risen from 48% in 2023 to 70% in 2025.
But I want to say to the country that we are going to end load reduction in the next 12 months. Once we get that cooperation, there are parts of the country where we are confident we'll get that cooperation. There are parts of the country where we know it's going to be difficult.
He added that this is the first time Eskom has surpassed the 70% energy availability target since it was introduced by the board. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
And in Madagascar, police have fired tear gas and rubber bullets at hundreds of protesters in the capital city. They have been demonstrating against repeated water and electricity outages. The Indian Ocean island is one of the poorest on the globe, despite vast natural resources. A heavy police presence patrolled the capital from early this morning after authorities had banned the demonstrations yesterday. But the protesters defied the order and tried to break through police barricades today. At least 3 demonstrators have been arrested. Gold is trading at $3,754.92 an ounce. The rand is at 17.38 to the dollar, 23.31 to the pound, 20.40 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $69.38 a barrel.
Heading into the Germiston CBD, expect about a 20-minute delay. M2 westbound from the Cleveland off-ramp all the way to Refinery Road. Centurion still dealing with that accident scene. N1 North near Old Joburg Road, slowing down traffic all the way from Olifantsfontein Road, and also leaving the Pretoria CBD. Expect some delays. This is in the Hermanstad area on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80.
And in your sport, Europa League's first match day will come to a conclusion today with Aston Villa set to host Bologna in the highlights of the evening. Proteas women have their World Cup warm-up against Bangladesh washed away And Roman Grosjean set to drive a Haas for the first time in 5 years.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 12 degrees, peaking at 23. Pretoria 13 and 24, and Vereeniging 12 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi is officially on special leave following allegations that he is linked to suspected underworld figure Vusmuzi Kat Matlala.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 5, and it's very good indeed to have you with us for the last hour or so of the show. Coming up, we're going to talk in a moment to our EWN colleague Oren Singh. He has been doing since day one, keeping a close eye on the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Very interesting stuff happening today. The person giving evidence, giving testimony, not one of the principal figures in this particular drama, because I think that's what it is, but nevertheless some important issues around points of law. We'll deal with Oren and what he saw in just a moment. And then moving from commissions to the Constitutional Court, a matter in front of the country's apex court in regard to consent in matters sexual consent. We'll hear from Dr. Sheena Swemmer joining us from the Center for Applied Legal Studies. 1 day of hearings today, no decision reached yet, but we'll get a sense of why the Center for Applied Legal Studies and others took this to court in the first place. 10 minutes past 5 on 702 Drive. I asked you about game shows that you might have been involved in when you were younger. Tina says, when I was in Standard 5 and 13 in the 1980s, I appeared in Dis My Geheim, an Afrikaans game show presented by Kobus Robinson. Panel of 3 had to guess which of the 3 participants were the real persona. In our case, it was the mini-mayor of Joburg. I was one of the imposters, but managed to fool one of the judges. That, says Tina, was 44 years ago. These shows have been going for a while. A few of you have some memories and, indeed, some aspirations.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi John, Oscar here from Brandfontein. I was once on an SABC, I think it was SABC 2 or 3 reality show, which was called You're Hired. It centered around contestants having to compete in real life work scenarios, and then the best contestant would win a job with one of the entities. I was on there as a senior manager at Johannesburg City Parks at the time, and we went on the final show. We hired one, the winning contestant, and then we felt it was not fair to take only one, and we took 2 of the contestants.
Don, lovely show. I would love to be on Married at First Sight. I don't know, I think it would be such a thrilling experience to meet someone, marry them, and see how it unfolds. Anonymous here in Krugersdorp.
Bravo, Charlie, when you heard that, there was a real shaking of the head. Never mind the weakest link. That perhaps a little bridge too far for you. 12 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
And this Eyewitness News traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. If you're heading for Germiston, it's not good.
Yeah, heading into Germiston, expect about a 20-minute delay on the M2 westbound from Cleveland off-ramp all the way to the Refinery Road off-ramp. There's also slow-moving traffic in Edenvale heading into Bedfordview. R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. There's big delays, huge delays in the if you are leaving Sandton at this hour. You can expect about a 30-minute delay. This is on Greyston Drive between Rivonia Road and the M1. Please, if you're on that route, what's causing causing this delay? Let me know. WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic. Also, Constantia Kloof traveling towards Soweto. There's slow-moving traffic N1 South between Beyers Nordia and 14th Avenue in Protea Glen. Traffic remains heavily backed up. N12 West between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. In the city of Tshwane, there's an accident scene in Centurion. N1 North near Old Joburg Road, slowing down traffic all the way from Olifantsfontein Road. Also leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic remains sluggish in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 5:30.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
20 years ago, you were driving to your first job, and 20 years ago, the OUTsurance pointsmen were on the roads easing traffic congestion. Whether you're an OUTsurance client or not, we've all been getting something out. From Johannesburg, Tshwane and Paul to Stellenbosch, show the OUTsurance pointsmen some love this month and celebrate this 20th anniversary using hashtag pointsmenlove. OUTsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
You last released an album, was it in 2015, if I'm not mistaken? And there are artists who do get worried when they haven't released in a while. You know, they get a bit worried. Oh, okay, we have to think constantly around when are we releasing music? How do you approach that as an artist?
So that's right. I mean, my second album from now on came out in 2015, and then Undilapa only came out 2024.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of artist who, I don't want hyper visibility. I don't want to be a machine that's churning out music all the time because I want to stay relevant.
Nomfundo Aluva.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
The all-new Audi A5 has arrived, a masterpiece of design and innovation. With a panoramic sunroof that changes transparency and a B&O sound system built into the headrests, every detail of the Audi A5 makes driving feel like an art form. Visit your Audi dealership, book a test drive, and experience the Audi A5 from 14,499 Rand per month. Visit audi.co.za for more. T's and C's apply. Brought to you by Audi Financial Services, a division of Volkswagen Financial Services, South Africa Pty Ltd, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Soccer and speed meet this season with Hollywood Bets and Aziz Shege. Be in the game. The thrilling competition sees 4 million Rand in cash and prizes up for grabs. The first of 4 brand new vehicles is a top-of-the-range Toyota Rumian. Simply bet 10 Rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch to qualify. Feel the fever and bet now on the action.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, there were lots of eyes on the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry when First Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi stepped up, followed by the National Commissioner of Police General Fani Masemola. Today, somebody much less well-known, but important nonetheless in what she had to say, giving evidence today, Major General Petronella van Rooyen, who's Head of Governance and Policy at SAP's Legal Services Division. Oren Singh, as always, keeping an eye on things for us, our EWN colleague. Oren, a very good afternoon to you. What were the key things that Major General van Rooyen had to say? My understanding is she was somewhat scathing, if albeit put rather calmly, in regard to the Minister Senzo Mkunu's directive to disband the Political Killings Task Team.
Correct, John, and good afternoon. I think the main thing coming out from Major General van Rooyen's testimony today was the fact that she felt, and remember this was her own personal views, because it's up to the Commission at the end of the day to determine whether Mkunu's decision to disband that Political Killings Task Team was unlawful or not. But she obviously laid out what the Constitution says and what the SAPS Act says, and in her 42 years of service, basically saying she's never seen a minister issue such an instruction to disband a unit or a task team, claiming that's obviously direct political interference. She believes that that instruction for the task team to be dissolved or disbanded was unlawful, that it wasn't within the role and responsibilities of a police minister, but also going further to suggest that Fani Masimola's deputy, Shadrach Sabia, was also in the wrong, and it was unlawful for him to issue an instruction for those 121 case dockets to be transferred to his office. So quite scathing in that element, John, that both the police minister, Senzo Mkunu, and deputy police commissioner, Shadrach Sabia, she believes were unlawful or irregular instructions on behalf of both of them.
And in terms of what happens next, Oren, I don't know if Major General van Rooyen is pretty much done or close to being done. Any idea of who the next witness and indeed witnesses might be?
John, as far as we understand, Major General van Rooyen concluded a testimony today, and tomorrow we're expecting someone from the National Prosecuting Authority, although we don't know who exactly it could be. We do know that during Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkonazi's testimony, he featured quite a bit or spoke to at length about the KZN Director of Public Prosecutions being Advocate Elaine Harrison. But as things stand, the Commission haven't divulged who is going to be appearing tomorrow from the NPA and what is likely to be the topic that's going to be discussed by them.
Thanks very much, Oren Singh, EWN reporter. Oren, on the Commission beat tomorrow, and we'll hear from him throughout the course of the day. I'm sure bulletins and regular inputs to the various shows we have here on 702. It's 21 minutes past 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, let's focus our attention now on the Constitutional Court. South Africa's sexual offences laws in the spotlight, the issue of sexual consent very much front and center. There are a number of organizations involved in this, and they don't, it seems to me, seem to be looking for exactly the same kind of remedy to the issue at hand. But what exactly is that issue? Let's find out. And welcome to 702 Drive, Dr. Sheena Swemmer, who's head of gender justice at the Center for Applied Legal Studies. Dr. Swemmer, welcome and thanks very much for your time. My understanding is that this matter in legal terms is quite intricate and perhaps quite technical, but if you could set that out for us, please, in layperson's terms and perhaps more crucially, tell us why this matter actually matters as much as you believe it does. Good afternoon.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I think you're right. It's an incredibly intricate matter, and I think the easiest way to explain it is that there has been confusion in our law as to whether an accused person in the sexual offences case can say that they were simply mistaken about whether consent was present or not, even if the circumstances around that seem quite improbable. And so all these different parties were before the court today to say either this does exist in law, it doesn't exist in law, or like Carl's position is this exists in law, but this is part of a deeper problem. But that's really the central issue.
So what kind of remedy are you looking for? You refer to a deeper problem. What is that deeper problem to the extent that such a deeper problem can be solved in a court of law, because obviously people who have engaged in conversation as part of life in South Africa about gender-based violence, the deeper problems are manifold. But specifically with regard to the law, what is that?
So with regards to the law, it's really focusing on the fact that in these the criminal law treats sexual offences very differently to other violent offences. So it includes consent in its definition, which other violent offences don't. And because it includes that element, it creates a burden on the state to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that there was no consent. But when we look at other crimes like assault or robbery, you assume the act is wrongful anyway. You don't have to prove the consent element. So what we're saying is that approach would definitely assist the law in being unified and create less of a burden on the victim.
How would that work, though, in the area where court cases often traverse, where there are contesting views around what the nature of the relationship is between the two people involved in the court matter, i.e. the sexual relationship, and questions around whether there are shared understandings of what intimacy between them constitutes? I don't know if I'm making that clear, but I'm not sure I understand the comparison you draw, for example, with robbery or armed robbery, because that doesn't involve a relationship of possible intimacy. I think the boundaries of violation there are a lot clearer.
Yeah, and that's partially because of the problematic view we've historically had around sexual offences.
Yes.
Is that the view has been that sexual offences is rape without consent. I mean, sex without consent.
Right.
But it's not. It's a violent act that infringes on someone's dignity. So framing it merely as sex without consent has been the problematic focus. It must be framed as a violation, the same as assault would be. So it's really to start focusing on the fact that this isn't just sex without consent. This is coercive circumstances that are created. This is like in intimate partner relationships. This is things like marital rape and those types of situations, is that there are coercive conditions that are at play. And the act is not wrongful just because there's no consent. There may also be the presence of various coercive circumstances, like being unconscious, being intoxicated.
Yes.
And we really want the judiciary to start dealing with those factors more so. And we think removing the consent requirement as it currently is and introducing more of a stance that looks at coercive circumstances may better open the area for discussion of the nuances in these relationships.
And just finally and briefly, if you can, Dr. Swem, I mean, should you prevail in the court and the legislative changes follow, would it be realistic to say that there would then be a long period in which case law fills out some of the spaces that invariably a broad framing of or reframing of a law leaves?
Exactly. You've got it exactly right. That's the unfortunate thing with law, is it's going to take decades for the law to fill out exactly what that would look like. And yeah, that's unfortunately the process that we have in the country. But to get the kind of problematic, if there were hurdles in the road, CULS is trying to remove those hurdles, but everything after that really will come down to time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sheena Swemmer, Head of Gender Justice at the Center for Applied Legal Studies. The other organization involved in this, by the way, the Embrace Project, are looking for a different remedy. And we'll see how things go tomorrow, but possibly, if not on this show, but on 702, I'm sure. And in fact, let me just be very clear. They were on earlier today. So if you want to get their point of view, Mandy Wiener spoke to them on the Midday Report, and you can pick that up on our website, primemediaplus.com. 27 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. So, Germiston is tricky, Centurion's a problem, and Santon is now not too good as well. Karabo Chale.
John, it's a total mess leaving Santon at this hour. On Greyston Drive, you can expect about a 30-minute delay. This is between Benmore Road and the M1. Also, driving through Catherine Street, there's about an hour delay. On West Road, this is approaching Barlow Park. Not clear what's causing these unusual delays. So if you are on that route, let us know. Please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic. In Ekurhuleni, heading towards the Germiston CBD, expect about a 20-minute delay. M2 westbound between Cleveland Road and Refinery. Still in Ekurhuleni, Edenvale. Traffic pressure R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange. And if you're leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic remains sluggish in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update in a few minutes.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance Pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent and a nervous but excited kid practicing her lines to put on a show-stopping performance at the school play. The Outsurance Pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a future superstar on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance Pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. EWN Business.
Right, let's get the very latest from the markets. The JSE took a rest yesterday on Heritage Day. I don't know what a market's equivalent of a braai would be, but anyway, back in business today, doing what exactly? Good afternoon.
I'm afraid if you had to sort of prize the JSE Open, John, put it on the coals, it would come out red.
I like my meat rare, but not my shares.
The JSE All Share down 0.83% at 105,803 points, John, mainly because gold has come off the boil just a little bit. So it's still above $3,700. But my sense was that it was on track for $4,000 because of the speed with which it was moving. And I think that's really brought down resources. Platinum, though, still very strong. So financials down 1.84%, industrials down 0.08%, and then resources down 1.15%. But financials is where a lot of this is happening. That said, Harmony down 6.86%, Goldfields down by 5%, DRD Gold down 4.36%, Anglo Gold down 4%. But it's not just there. I mean, Aspen are down 4.72%, and Boxer is down 3.71% as well. They're not the only consumer share down today. Platinum stocks, they're going the other way. Northam, Volterra, Implat, Sibanye, all of them up very significantly. Northam up by nearly 5% on the day. And this is really a conversation, I suppose, about direction, the future stars, if you like, rather than about the actual numbers at the moment. Barlow World explaining today their group revenue for was down by 10% in the 11 months to the end of August. And Soho Sun confirming they've been given permission to move their Caledon casino license to Somerset West. They'll make a lot more money there, of course, but it's taken a long time, about 10 years just to get there. And then PPI for August was up to 2.1% in August. It was 1.5% in July. It does seem that the food sector, so beverages, tobacco, but food really is one of the main reasons for that. In the US, GDP figures out today suggesting that there won't be another interest rate cut soon. That means that the Dow Jones is down now by 0.23%. The Nasdaq is down 0.5%. The S&P 500 is down 0.46. Gold lower than it was yesterday and the day before that. $3,729.58. Platinum $1,518.90. Brent crude $68.72. The rand to the dollar 17.43 to the euro, 20.34 to the British pound, 23.27. On the Money Show tonight, John, this extraordinary story where Taiwan, I presume in response to our decision to further downgrade their main office here, decided to impose a curb on the export of microchips to South Africa, and then 48 hours later said, no, we're going to rescind the curb, which means basically that you can buy Taiwanese microchips. Also means that Apple can buy Taiwanese microchips and sell them in products to us. So it is quite important, but it is a sort of comment about what happens if you use your atom bomb. You can only use it once, and that might be the issue in trade that's happening here. We will talk also about how Google seems to be sort of hoovering up every AI business it can, trying to sort of consolidate there, which I thought was quite interesting. And then also why cell phone networks and banks are getting involved in electricity trading. You ever noticed how your cell phone company and your bank are getting quite similar? Well, the same now seems to be happening in electricity. You get to swear at them all at once. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Maybe they can have a subdivision called Vault.com. Terrible. I know.
Terrible.
Let me get out of here. As fast as I can. Let's go to the news desk. And Mbali Dlamini, good afternoon.
Thanks, John. A very good afternoon. The Patriotic Alliance has threatened to walk away from the Government of National Unity if Kenny Kunene is not reinstated to Joburg's mayoral committee. Party leader Gayton McKenzie, who serves on the GNU as the Minister of Sport, threatened to withdraw from all coalitions unless Kunene gets his job back. The threats come just days after Kunene was cleared of wrongdoing in an internal party process. Babalondenze has more.
Kenny Kunene was removed from the mayoral committee by the Patriotic Alliance after he was found at the Sandton home of Katiso Molefe when police showed up to arrest the controversial businessman in July. An independent investigation has since cleared Kunene of any wrongdoing, and the party says he should be reappointed, failing which they will leave the GNU. Kunene and the party have accused Joburg Mayor Tata Morero of frustrating the process and failing to facilitate his return.
All those who are in coalitions with the ANC, whether it's provincial, whether it's local, whether it's national, including our president as the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, we will then walk away out of the GNU, out of the GLU, out of the GPU.
The party says the ANC in Johannesburg has 7 days to reappoint Kunene if it wants to keep its coalitions intact. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News.
Following a yellow level 2 warning for severe thunderstorms in Gauteng, Joburg Emergency Service is urging motorists not to take the alert lightly and to practice caution while driving. The city's emergency service remains on high alert to respond to any incidents after the SA Weather Service warned that the harsh conditions could lead to localized flooding and disruptive winds. The Metro's EMS spokesperson Robert Malaudzi has also called on residents in flood-prone areas to avoid crossing rivers and streams.
From our side, as the City of Johannesburg Emergency Management Services, together with our specialized teams, which respond to water-related emergencies, like our aquatic rescue unit, we remain on high alert, together with all our fire stations throughout the City of Johannesburg, for any emergencies which might occur throughout the city.
And the Anglican Bishops of Southern Africa has reiterated its call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. This is amid an escalation of attacks on Palestinians in Gaza, which have claimed over 64,000 lives. The Gaza conflict was sparked by a Hamas attack in Israel on October the 7th in 2023, where at least 1,200 Israeli citizens were killed. Attacks have since continued in Gaza, despite calls for a truce from world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly. Ekurhuleni has more.
The Anglican Bishops of Southern Africa said the recent breakdown of ceasefire agreements and the continued bombardments in the region have further endangered civilians, particularly women and children. They say international reports confirm that the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza has deepened, with over 90% of the population displaced and the health system near total collapse. In a statement, the Church's Synod of Bishops says the escalation of the conflict in the region raises the real threat of a wider war and has divided the international community. They are calling for unhindered delivery of humanitarian aid, accountability for violations of international law, the release of all hostages and political prisoners, and renewed commitment to peace building. Ekurhuleni, Eyewitness News.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 12 and 13 degrees and highs of between 23 and 24.
Leaving the Sandton area, this is in the Sandton area on Greyston Drive. You can expect about a 30-minute delay between Benmore and the M1. Also on Catherine Street, about an hour delay between West Road and Barlow Park. Heading into the Germiston CBD, you can still expect about a 20-minute delay on the M2 westbound between Cleveland and Refinery. And leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic remains sluggish in Hermanstad on Eskiam Patlele between Van der Hof and the R80.
The top story in EWN, the Patriotic Alliance has again threatened to walk away from the Government of National Unity if Ekurhuleni is not reinstated to Joburg's mayoral committee.
702 afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
At what point does one's beliefs become a mental health crisis?
I think it becomes a mental health crisis when the beliefs are not actually life-giving. In other words, the beliefs don't really let you flourish and do well in the world. What is problematic is when a belief system doesn't enable you to do that. And that's very often what we see in cults.
Professor Maria from the Department of Religion Studies at the University of Johannesburg.
702 afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Smart Steve from Momentum, hello.
Smart Steve, my daughter just turned 18, right? And now she's got a license and a boyfriend.
You're worried about her safety. With Momentum Safety Alert, she can access help 24/7.
Is that the emergency response version of Curry in a Hurry?
For sure. She can get help at the touch of a button for free.
Free? For all that and all?
Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
This Mazda doesn't just start. It wakes up. Anticipation. The wheel settles into your hands. Seat and mirrors adjust. You didn't ask. It just knew. Then the 3.3-liter turbo diesel clears its throat. And suddenly, you're flying, weaving through sunlight. Goosebumps on your commute. The feeling will find you in the Mazda CX-60. Wonder awaits.
For over a decade, Aluma Capital has had one simple mission: to help you secure the financial future you deserve. Over the past 10 years, they've empowered thousands of clients with personalized strategies, expert advice, and impressive returns of up to 13.2%. Whether it's growing wealth, securing retirement, or planning for the unexpected, Aluma Capital is there every step of the way. Visit aluma.co.za today. Aluma Capital is a licensed FSP. T's and C's apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John and team. So, I was on the Ultimate Braai Master Season 4, one half of the YOLO Roadies. I think I would love to get back on that show and fix some of my mistakes and hopefully win. It was an absolute amazing experience, an absolute blast, and the crew were just fabulous people. And of course, so were the rest of the contestants. We made lifelong friends in that show. Thanks, bye.
Yeah, I'm just realizing how many different shows of this kind there were. And I must be honest, it's not particularly something I consume watching TV. I think it's fair to say I don't really watch these shows at all. But there's so many different ones. Listen to Robert, who says, I was on Smarter Than a Fifth Grader with Solly Philander as the host. Nerve-wracking. I made it to the second last question, and the last topic was history. I still have an absolute mental block about the last question about where Sarah Baartman's remains were laid to rest. I bailed, but I still walked away, listen to this, with 500,000 Rand. What? That was in 2007. And I actually sent Robert a note and said, sorry, did I, is there have I got all the noughts lined up? And he said, yeah, that was the kind of money. He says, I was kind of annoyed by a later version where the answer was tessellation. I would have got that one. It was fun. Can I tell you, if I was asked something about tessellation, I wouldn't have got it. But tessellation apparently is the art of laying tiles, either physically or virtually, where there is no overlap in the tiles. You knew that, Anthony. No, Anthony didn't. Okay, no, well, I'm in a room full of people. If it was tessellation, it would have been desolation for us. We would have lost the cash. By the way, Robert did remind us that Sarah Baartman's remains laid to rest in the small Eastern Cape town of Hankey, if you're wondering about the answer to that. 18 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Anthony, football in Europe tonight. Cricket supposedly in the Indian subcontinent, but rain getting in the way there. All the sport, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, John. We will start with the Europa League as the first match day will conclude this evening. Selected fixtures see RB Salzburg against Porto, Stuttgart meets Celta Vigo, and Aston Villa come up against Bologna, a team they beat during last season's UEFA Champions League campaign. Manager Unai Emery, who's already led his side to 3 successive European campaigns, expects Villa Park to be lively.
For me, Europe is always a dream. In this competition, being protagonist is really very excited way. And of course, to share with our supporters what I did 2 years ago playing in Conference League, Villa Park always was amazing. The atmosphere we created. Last year in Champions League, the same. I think the supporters are very excited in this competition like we are.
The earliest of those games kick off at 6:45. While the round of 16 draw for the Carabao Cup took place, highlights for the clashes will see Anfield hosting Crystal Palace and Liverpool. Spurs head to the north of England and collide with Newcastle. Arsenal come up against Brighton. Speaking after their third round victory over Port Vale, manager Mikel Arteta shared some thoughts on that encounter.
A tough one, at least it's at home, so that's always a positive thing, but we know they are top side and it will be a difficult night.
Switching to cricket, where the Proteas women had their warm-up for the World Cup washed away after Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and Pakistan's matches were also washed away. New Zealand women were stunned by India A as they lost by 4 wickets in a rain-hit ODI, and there's live action with England women posting a 340 for 9 against the Indian woman Nat Skiver-Brunt with 122 before retiring. A spot in Sunday's Asia Cup final is on the line in Dubai. Pakistan men meeting Bangladesh, and the Pakistan side have been sent into bat first. Win for either one would set up a showdown with India Sunday. And former F1 driver Roman Grosjean will drive a Formula One car for the first time in 5 years since the 2020 horror fireball crash, which nearly claimed his life and ended his Formula One career. He agreed to test the 2023 Haas, a constructor he spent 5 years with, at the Mugello circuit as part of the feature for Formula One TV. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
7:02 drive, it's 6:45. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Take A Lot, Happy Delivered. Okay, Karabo Chale, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, John. Well, we still have those huge delays heading in and out of Sandton. You can expect about a 30-minute delay on Grayston Drive between Benmore and the M1. Also, about an hour delay on Catherine Street. That's between West Road and Barlow Park. I have one of my colleagues stuck on the M1 onto Grayston Drive. She says she's been there for about 30 minutes now, so she's hardly moving. So if you can help it, avoid Grayston Drive and the M1 at all costs. Also heading into the Germiston CBD, expect about a 20-minute delay on the M2 westbound between Cleveland Road and Refinery. Edenvale traveling towards Bedford View, there's about a 20-minute delay. R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange in Boksburg. Roadworks causing about a 30-minute delay on the N17 eastbound between Osborne and Heidelberg Road. Brakpan also bumper-to-bumper traffic approaching the intersection of Heidelberg Road and Ellsberg Road. That's approaching Carnival City. And finally, leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic remains sluggish in Hermanstad on Eskiam Patlele between Van der Hof and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Traffic is trafficking. The robots aren't AI, but more like an eye roll, and service delivery isn't delivering. But luckily, Take A Lot is. Shop anything from beauty and sport to tech and toys at everyday low prices and get it delivered to your door faster than you can get home, even when you take the back roads. A delivery so quick, the speed thrills. Halala with no limits, just the open road of happiness before you. Take A Lot. Happy delivered.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Okay, time for us to spend some time enjoying music and all the things that music makes us think about. By the way, I just want to, before we get into that, just share this with Dave, because he raises a very important point about the Constitutional Court and the issues around sexual consent. And he just says, on sexual offenders, please revisit the teenage pregnancy stats. Prosecution cases are almost zero. Can we protect our girl children? I know I'm going backwards into something we discussed earlier, but I do think Dave's point was a key one, and I just wanted to share it. It's 13 minutes now to 6.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Okay, music now. What are we doing today? We had a little chat about, is it music that makes you scared, or music that's perfectly fine but has been used in scary TV shows and movies, or could it be either?
So it could be both.
Yes.
So you could hear a song and it makes you maybe feel a little bit uneasy, gives you an eerie feeling.
Yes.
Or has a sort of a scary meaning behind it. Maybe you could look at Thriller, that song with the music video attached to it.
Yes, yes.
So when I was looking and I Googled around to say, okay, well, what songs give you this feeling? From the movie Halloween, I think it was in 1974, they used the Mike Oldfield Tubular Bells.
Oh,
now,
my goodness.
When I originally told you were like, Tubular Bells? Well, that's not scary.
I don't think it was written to be scary.
But then when you listen to this music
Yes.
from the beginning of Tubular Bells, you could kind of think, something's going to go wrong here. Like maybe you're in your shower and a guy with a funny mask and a knife could come and, go for you.
Yeah, to which I would say, again, seriously. No, but in all seriousness,
yeah,
Tubular Bells did not conjure up any of those images. But I've never seen the movie.
Okay, well, yeah. So if you have seen the movie, then, it will make sense. So
okay,
let's take a listen to Tubular Bells.
Okay.
Picture it. You're in the shower, steam. You're lathering up your body, and then you get confronted with a very big knife and a mask.
Okay.
And this music starts to play.
I used to like this song, but clearly that's gone out of the window. Mike Oldfield, Tubular Bells, big hit from the 70s. Here we go. I guess I have to see the movie. I mean, my association with Tubular Bells, 1973 it was released, so I would have been in Standard 7-ish, Standard 7, Standard 8, trying to make my way through the world of music and learning. Oh, no. This music is not scary to me at all. But maybe you've seen Halloween. So music that either was used and in a movie or a TV series, or music that was actually in and of itself, when you heard it, made you feel a little bit creepy. I've got a song to share with you a little bit later, but I'm much more interested in yours for now. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. We got David saying, I would have to say the theme song from the X Files, Mark Snow, the artist, I believe. Materia Primoris sends shivers down my spine. But tell me, David, drop me another quick notice and tell me, is it the song or is it the way the song was used in the movies? Because, My associations with tubular bells remain extremely mellow. It's 8 minutes now to 6.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Gaten McKenzie says his party is not opposed to forming a coalition with the DA, as he confirms that the Patriotic Alliance has stopped its work with the ANC in the Johannesburg Metro. Earlier this week, the Patriotic Alliance threatened to exit its coalition after clearing its Deputy President Ekurhuleni of any wrongdoing in relation to his alleged links to controversial businessman Vusi Kat Matlala. The PA demanded that Ekurhuleni be reinstated as Johannesburg's transport MMC.
And we will form a coalition with the DA. I'm telling you today.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Ready to lead and make our world a better place, Regenesis School of Education proudly launches its revolutionary Bachelor of Education program. They don't just develop teachers, they develop conscious leaders equipped with IQ, STEM, AI, and emotional intelligence. Study in the heart of Sandton or online worldwide with a world-class faculty trusted by over 1,000 corporations and 500,000 alumni from 150 countries. Enroll now at regenesis.net/education. Regenesis School of Education, awakening potential.
Life has its own rhythm, but muscle and joint pain may upset the beat.
Noflex gel.
Trust Noflex Gel's triple action formula to target muscle pain, reduce inflammation, and help numb the affected area.
Noflex gel.
So, get your beat back and reclaim the rhythm of life.
Noflex gel.
Beat the pain with Noflex Gel and higher strength Noflex Gel Fort. For more information, speak to your healthcare professional.
Naked people are great dancers. Because naked people spend less time on insurance admin, they have more time to perfect their moves. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to Jono. The music that makes me feel scared is also the song X-Files. Yo, that song, it's creepy, creepy, creepy. Thank you, John. Great day to you. Bye.
Okay, so that's the music from the X-Files. Now, you may have heard me earlier ask Dave, is it the music or is it the association of the visuals and the story? And Dave said, well, a bit of both. Let's give it a play and ask the listeners. So we gave it a play. Let's hear from you and tell us what you think. Carlos says, I think a song that was quite scary in my day was Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath, which was used in the opening scene of our matric play as Macbeth in The Witches Around the Cauldron and so on. That was quite scary in those days, but it was on the ground. So yeah, Carlos says, call us from Pretoria. Okay, Carlos, you said that music and movies and scary stuff, we could not do this, particularly on the, what anniversary is it on of the making of that movie? What was it called about the shark, I think? Jaws' 50th anniversary this year. The sound, the music, composed and conducted by John Williams. Anyone who follows movie soundtracks would know that he was one of the greats. Now, I must admit, a song that made me a little bit nervous and scared, even when I was very, very young, because this came out in 71, so I would have been 12. But I ended up somehow, possibly because I had an older brother, hearing this song by The Doors. Brilliant, brilliant piece of music. But the lyrics, well, a little bit creepy. I'll see if we can get some of the lyrics in. Otherwise, I'll read them for you. The Doors, Riders on the Storm. So we've got the rain, and we've got some great music, and we have the fabulous voice of Jim Morrison. It should all be wonderful, but I guess when you're 12, this was perhaps a little creepier than some of the other music I was listening to, which in those days was known as bubblegum.
Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Into this house we're born. Into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone and hacked out alone. Riders on the storm. There's a killer on the road. His brain is squirming like a toad.
That's kind of the business end. There's a killer on the road. His brain is squirming like a toad. If you give this man a ride, sweet family will die. Killer on the road. Yeah. Okay, so at 12, I thought that song was pretty scary. Time for one more, do we?
Good afternoon, John. The song that scares me even now, it's I don't know who sang it, I've forgotten. It's I will do anything for love, but I won't do that. Yeah, the video is quite scary. I was a child, and to this day it still scares me.
Meatloaf, yeah. I'd do anything for more time, but we don't have any. This has been 702 Drive. Good night.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, banking on local growth with Club Med South Africa to bring the first resort of its kind to the country. Good evening on your Money Show tonight, as your president points out how global